Welcome, everybody, to the VRML Preseason Championships single elimination rounds. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I'm joined by my co-caster, Filibust Phil. How are you feeling today? Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a thrilling weekend of Breachers gameplay, and next weekend, this is the postseason. It is 2 weekends of tournament gameplay. We have the top 8 teams from every region battling out to qualify through what are called the group stages, the single elimination stages that we're playing through today and tomorrow. At the end, we'll have 2 winners, 2 teams that have won their respective best of 3s, and they will then advance on to next weekend, where we have the double elimination bracket, I guess, although if you lose, you don't have a chance, I don't think, to get back up to second. If you lose, you're just playing for third. But regardless, it's a semifinals leading into third place match, and then a finals for every region. So we're going to get to see not just EU today, NA later this afternoon, like you said, and then that OA region as well to round things off on the at night. It is a lot of Breachers and a lot of best of 3s. That is the format this afternoon. And let's talk about the teams that we're going to be checking out here today, Phil. We've got 4 high-quality EU squads going at it. Yep. Yeah, it's been really cool to see the teams come in so focused in this preseason. So I do think we're going to see some focused gameplay here this weekend and next weekend, if not the best breachers that we can get our eyes on. That's the fingers crossed sort of sort of what we're hoping for, right? Today we have 4 teams playing, 2 matches to be played, 2 best of 3s for the EU side. Our first game is VRF versus French Onward Union. Our second game is Niffen versus Revolt VR. And let's start with VRF and FOU because that's where we're headed for the first set. That's where we're going for maps 1, 2, and 3 to kick this thing off. It is with the VRF and FOU matchup. That matchup coming in with pretty high-ranked teams. VRF number 2 overall and FOU number 7. Both squads that have been playing up in that top 8 region on the EU side. And we do see some pretty strong differing win rates. When we look at the percentages, when we look at the stats here, Phil, we can see that VRF 5-1, FOU 4-3-1 with a tie. And that one was a forfeit on VRF. So I don't know, Phil, are we quote-unquote counting VRF to be undefeated going into this? Uh-oh. We are currently not receiving your audio in, which will we'll fix that. Oh yeah, that's my fault. That was something I wanted to adjust before we started, but now people should be able to hear you.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Yeah, we're good. We got Phil's insight now. Okay, beautiful. It's all good.
I would say technically, considering that it's a forfeit, I mean, they technically aren't undefeated, but pretty much a flawless record coming in. For any time that they've actually showed up in the server, nobody's been able to defeat them. So as long as they show up today, I mean, French on you are going to want to be the first people to actually give them a legitimate loss that isn't a forfeit. So I'm excited to see. It should be a good matchup.
Yeah, and again, now that we can engage in a dialogue, we look at the percentages. Skyscraper, a 72% win rate for VRF. In comparison, a 59% win rate for FOU. Hideout, a 61% win rate for FOU. And it's the worst map for VRF, but worst is still a 63% win rate on Hideout. And so I am kind of curious that maybe if we do get into this place where it's map pick for map pick, maps 1 and 2, I'm going to assume we're going Skyscraper to start things off because VRF are home. They are the seed number 2. I believe they're home. FOU likely to pick into Hideout. We could see those 2 maps kind of go the way of the teams that obviously have those statistical advantages in them. But it's the postseason, Phil. Anything can happen here.
Yeah. Every round, every map is going to be scrappy. The pressure is really on a level that a lot of these guys haven't seen so far in the preseason, being that we're in the championship rounds now, right? Single elimination, backs against the wall. There's really no slack. Everybody's going to be bringing their all straight out the gate, and the momentum shift is going to be huge. So those pistol rounds are going to be ever so important here today because it's going to really set the tone for the start of each of each half. You know, you get a money advantage, you get the momentum swinging in your favor, and the pressure really is going to be high. So I'm really excited to see what these guys have.
Yeah, it's
guys and gals, I should say.
Yeah, it's a diverse crowd, and this is, of course, just our first game of the day. We got 2 on the docket this afternoon. Match number 2 is going to be, we can update the teams here, Niffen versus Revolt VR, and this one I think is going to be a little bit more of a challenge if we're looking at the stats coming in from things. Niffen, a team that actually qualified in because of other squads not being available. So normally we'd take the top 8 seeded in the regular season, but they actually are ranked 11th overall in that seeding. In comparison to the Revolt VRL squad, who I do believe did earn their way into that top 8 seed and was available to play. So they are coming in with a little bit more experience. And now that I have the matchups set, when we do go back and look at the stats, there's a story to tell there. The last time they played, Phil, they lost to Revolt 21-2. So do you think there's a chance for Niffen coming in with the pressure on the line?
Oof. I mean, it's tough to have. I don't know if the stats tell the whole story there. Was it could have been maybe some 4v5? I don't know. They're going to be out for revenge. I know that much for sure. And at least now they have a little bit of data to bring to the table, of a little bit of experience versus them. So hopefully they got some adjustments to make, to put on a show for us here today, because they're not going to want to go out round 1 in the postseason after qualifying with the wild card slot like they did, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be a good match.
If anything, Phil, I'm looking to be surprised for our second match of the afternoon. You know, I do think we could really see Niffen come out and bring some surprise off-meta stats, or maybe just ultimately bring in a focused squad. Maybe they've done their homework. They've gone and watched back their last matchup against Revolt RVL, if they have recordings and footage to look at. And so at least I know it's not from us, Phil, because we don't get a lot of time to look at these EU teams. So I'm also excited for that aspect, right? Because we got a whole new sort of maybe potentially style of gameplay that we're going to get to look at. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I agree. I mean, Revolt is definitely a strong team. They're not going to make it easy. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what EU has to offer. I haven't seen any of these guys really play on stream yet. It's going to be a great day. I'm so excited. We got an awesome day of Breachers coming for you guys. I hope you guys are ready. Sit back and enjoy the show that we're going to put on for you. And it's going to be hype.
It is going to be hype. Again, we also have NA coming up later this afternoon. You can find all of these upcoming streams to get notifications for them right here on the Breachers VRML YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We are going to take a 10-minute break here. We're going to set up for our match number 1. And when we come back, we are hopefully going to be diving into round number 1 of VRF versus French Onward Union. So don't go anywhere. It is the EU preseason, postseason championship. Don't miss the action.
Welcome back to VRML Breachers, where we're ready to get our first match underway. It is going to be VRF versus FOU, and I am excited for this matchup. Nightfire, how you feeling?
I'm great. I'm super happy to be here for match number 1 of this preseason championship. Like we said in that pre-show, if you did not tune in, this is a single elimination set here. We're tuning into 2 games. The first one is VRF versus FOU in a best of 3. The winner advances on to the semifinals, where they play for a chance to go on to the finals next weekend. We have multiple games lined up for next weekend, and this is happening across all the regions. So it's a day filled with good quality Breachers action here this afternoon, and I already see a bunch of folks tuning in. Looking forward to at least this match, Phil, and I think it's going to be a good one. Again, we look at the stats, and we're looking at 2 teams that are playing pretty well so far in this preseason.
They really are. I mean, anybody who can get to this point has got to be pretty darn good at the game, and because it's single elimination, we're going to see the best of what they have to offer. Nobody's going to be sandbagging or holding anything back at this point, being that the backs are already against the wall. So I'm really excited to see the best of what these teams have to offer. Like we've talked about, we're both from the Americas region, so we're not too familiar with what these EU teams have to offer, but we're excited to see. I'm personally excited to see how the EU meta maybe differs a little bit from what we see in the top NA teams. It's exciting to see. That's something I'm always into as a student of the game. What are the differences, how the meta is evolving, and how it branches out in different regions. So it should be an interesting day, to say the least.
I mean, we're talking about a lot too here, Phil, because we're talking, especially with how we do things with Breachers, it's regional, right? So these EU teams aren't going up against the NA teams. They are strictly playing in their EU region. We've seen in other games completely different styles of gameplay and pacing develop in other regions because of they're isolated. They don't get the same sort of meta influences from other teams on the NA side. This isn't to say that there's so many broadcasts of NA that if they're watching, then they've seen what the NA meta is, I suppose. But still, I'd really be interested to see what kind of action we get here this afternoon, as we are, I believe, just waiting on a 5th from VRF. Hopefully they don't go in 4v5. Hopefully that's not the EU meta is 4v5s. I don't want to see that this afternoon. But yeah, we are just a few moments away from jumping into our first round, and again, if we look at the stats, Phil, who are you sort of leaning on as the favorite of this matchup?
Strictly statistically speaking, as an analyst, I would have to be placing my bets on VRF. Looking at it, nobody's actually given them a loss when they've actually showed up. The only loss they have on their record is that forfeit to Wolfpack. I believe it was Wolfpack. Let me see. I got it right here. Yeah, and so what? I mean, they're showing up here today as we see their 5th finally joining into the server. They've got all 5. They're here in the server. They've never lost under these circumstances, so it would have to be a first. So I got to put my money on them, but like I said, French on you is going to be wanting to put that first loss on the board legitimately.
And FOU is a team that, if you're familiar with VRML, you're no stranger to them. They've been a team that has played in other leagues. So they're a team that has that team cohesion coming in. So that could be a big factor here as we do finally jump in to round number 1 of the afternoon. It is VRF versus FOU. And VRF on defense, FOU on the attack. Let's take a look at the active rosters. Coming in on FOU, we have Noctilus, the Namo, Exodin, Lolo, and PGO3. And over on VRF, we have the God Jumbo, Typical Light, Player Pixel, Typic, and Pixel. Typical Light and Typic. That's going to be a doozy if they start lining up kills next to each other. Phil, we're going to have ourselves a mouthful with that one.
And on the same team, no less. And I've seen it happen where we've got an on dog, a mad dog, and a mad on through 2 different teams, but Typic and Typical on the same team. That's going to be tricky throughout the entire postseason here if they continue on.
Yeah, it is not going to be a They'll figure. I'm sure we'll call them light and Typic. Maybe that's what we'll go. We'll go with some good abbreviations. Either way, we're finally into round one. Map one, if you didn't notice, is Hideout as we're kicking things off. And this one, if we look at the stats, is FOU's preference statistically. So as they go on to the attack, we'll see how their A lobby breach is. Typic is set up for initial bit of disruption on the outside window, and from here, the real threat is Typical Light on that bottom floor. If they spring their trap at any point, it could be bad news for the lobby, and Exodus seems to be trying to clear out this potential threat. They're here. Do they see Typical Light rotate out? I think they just missed them. Oh, man.
The timing is everything here. And yeah, Typical Light is going to find that first kill onto Exodus. And to get things started off, Wisely backs up to rejoin with his team going up the main staircase. And now the attacking side of FOU is... You see them turning around, looking behind. They have to worry about the flank now. That Exodus was their guy covering the flank. So now this breach onto A is going to be all that much less comfortable for them.
Yeah. As
that foam is on that wall, some spam coming through the wall, and yeah, let's see. It really did slow the pace down of this attack.
Minute 46 on the clock, so they do have time if they wanted to go down and root something out on that bottom floor. But like you said, they're sort of just ignoring it, assuming maybe that the rotation has come in, that there isn't anyone down there on the bottom floor anymore. And this is a good push, a nice push in. There's no door blocker or trip mine to disrupt this plant, but they can instantly find the pickup, a beautiful one-tap with that Taurus coming through from Typic. But the plant is down, and so now it's defense time for the remaining 3 of FOU.
Yeah, 3v5 is not where you want to be here on the pistol, but being that it's a post plant, this gives you the best chance as they finally push into that meat grinder, and the 2 picks come out, and they trade it down to a 2v2 just like that. Noctilus finding Typical. Now it's a 1 versus 2. It's all down to player picks. So he finds the first one, but it's 1v1. PG peeking around this corner. It's all about the timing here. And the headshot comes in. That's going to be the first round going to FOU, looking to put VRF's first loss on their record.
We're into the postseason. We're into the postseason. First round, it comes down to a 1v1. It ends with a near a super close battle. It goes to FOU, and they take their attacking round up 1-0. And we're seeing some aggressive buys coming in, Phil, on FOU. They're going in on the big investment round 2.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we see quite a bit people investing into at least a couple of Vezins. 3 Vezins is a confident buy, to say the least, right? Because if 3 or more people on your team die on this next round, you're not going to be fully stacked going into round 3. So if VRF, then they do choose to save their pistols, they're setting up for a full buy on round 3, meaning they're likely to have 5 rifles. You're buying 3 rifles, so you got to win this round clean with at least 3 people alive to take those rifles into the next round. It's a confident buy, to say the least, but I like it. I actually like this strategy coming out from FOU. Keep the momentum going in your favor.
We'll have to see how it goes for the FOU gang as we dive in to round number 2. A bit of a different setup. A site. Not often do we see the A site push work, Phil. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the NA side of things. I've seen a couple of I've seen successful pushes. Not to say it can't be done, but more often than not, I feel like A site pushes fail.
Yeah, coming through the wine cellar, I feel like there's a lot more hiding spots, I guess, for the Revolters. And then when you come in, once you do take control of the A, you can get kind of reverse crunched on from upstairs, from the back hall. There's a lot more angles to worry about here as the attacker, but perhaps we're seeing our first difference in the EU meta versus NA, as this does seem to be where French on you want to take this round. Bunch of damage coming into Noctilus, but they do have the healing syringes. Gonna heal that back up. A Typical Light finds a pick on the upstairs. That's the man advantage going the way of VRF, and this is what I'm saying. This confident 3 rifle buy is already, they've got 1 more person that can die before this round starts to get sloppy, and Typical has actually recovered a Vezin.
Yeah.
Well, that's a gun in the hands of VRF. That's huge.
Super dangerous for this team to have to go now up against that rifle in hand. That is worst case scenario. You're seeing that they're actually prioritizing pushing back up to the body. They were looking for the rifle there, but no dice. In the meantime, Noctilus has found a couple of kills over through, where was that? On the flank, it looks like, but round towards B. So options are available. If they could breach A and rotate B, but A now wide open. Player Pixel here to defend, as is Pixel over the top. Another bit of a duo on the naming conventions there. Good Jumbo here, the God Jambo here, tucked in, and it's going to be Exit and finding the kill. The full investment pays off. That could have gone so much different. I think if Tipic had just pushed with that rifle in hand, we could have seen maybe a double kill come in there, and it would have been 2v4 going into that round.
Yeah, it would have been huge. They do recover nicely, though, with 4 people still left alive, and they are going to go into this third round with 5 rifles in hand. But yeah, definitely a dangerous and stressful second round. If you're an FOU fan, you were sweating bullets at the start of that, right alongside us there. And but yeah, we're going to see the third round full buy. We're going to see 4 rifles in the hands of VRF and all 5 Vezins on the likes of FOU. A little bit more util to work with on the attacker side, being that they won the pistol. They have a little bit more momentum. We see a couple of syringes being bought. I hear a static field emitter going down, and maybe I'm actually tripping. Not a lot of util on the defense is my point. They've got a fire grenade, only 1 healing syringe to work with, a couple of trip mines out to go down.
Yep.
So it's going to be a tough round for the defense here. But they definitely want to stop the bleeding, get their first round on the board as we get started into round 3.
It's that full commit. I mean, this is when the pressure is on, right? We're talking about a team, Phil, that hasn't arguably lost, but when they've played, you know, they've won every game that they have played so far in this preseason, and they're now going up against FOU. And so far, it is FOU bringing the heat in this preseason. Fully stacked, full utility, and a lobby push that is going to be relatively uncontested, if completely uncontested. I'm not even seeing any door blockers on A site. So what is the strategy here on VRF? Let them take A and then go for the retake?
Yeah, I think the problem being that they bought a little bit of stuff in the last round. They bought a couple of pistols, I believe, and now they don't have that money to invest into utility. They want to get full guns on the board. Tipic in a nice spot to get a first, and he finds a double, and he's trying to get traded. Does finally get taken out, but the damage is done. He finds a triple before Jambo trades him out. Now it's just a 1 versus 4, PG03, and VRF coming out strong in the third round to put their first round on the board. Unless PG can pull something miraculous out, it does look like VRF they did show up to play. Once they get some guns in their hands, it's
jeez,
that was something.
Wow.
Util aside.
A fast couple of rounds here, Phil. We're blazing through these ones, and finally we're getting like a pause in the momentum as we do find PG alone. Do we see saves? You know, something that honestly has started to take a little bit more prevalence in the
meta.
Yeah, in the meta. Sorry, I was just looking at. Oh, that's my fault. I got mixed up on our. I was making. Never mind. Yeah, sorry. In the meta, and I do think it's going to be. Gosh, I don't know. It's the smart choice for PGO3. There's no reason to dive into a 1v4.
No, absolutely. And if you look at the money, you see most of them, Exodin aside, most of them he'll be able to drop a rifle for a teammate. They'll be able to get at least 4 rifles up in the next round, assuming Lolo can invest into something like a Cadillo or something like that. They can scrap another buy together after this if he saves, as opposed to the chances of him pulling off a 1 versus 4 like this against VRF with fully stacked up with rifles, the way that they are popping off this round is just, you get a much better value, I think, from him bringing the rifle into the next round. And I think we're going to, like you said, as the meta advances on both regions, I think we're going to start to see more saves, you know, right. Even in 2v5 or I don't know, once we get some of the map metas figured out and some of the sites are difficult to defend, maybe you get like a 3 kills to post play, and even like a 2 versus 4 might be worth saving in some situations.
Right.
But for now, 1v4, no brainer. He's definitely going to save that rifle. And just like that, 2-1, VRF put their first round on the board.
A big round on the board, no less. Almost the most damage they could have done in addition to getting that round, only losing 1 player. It's a complete economic swap. But FOU do have a little bit of comfortability with their cash, so we're going to see another full buy. This time, we're seeing a little bit more utility coming in on the VRF defense. And so if that was hard for FOU to break through out last round, they may find a little bit more challenging here going into this one. No rifle advantages like they had in round 2, but geez, what? Just a very different defensive hold that worked out. Tipic with that on-corner play was huge, Phil, that last round. If Tipic wasn't there, who knows what happens on that play.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, like we were just talking about how they didn't have a lot of utility to work with, so not a lot of door blockers. They didn't try to contest for control of lobby, but he took that nice aggressive spot against the wall, and then he just was in the perfect position. Peeked out, got a quick double kill, turned around, got a third one right before getting traded, and then he got counter traded instantly. Straight, it went from 5v5 to 4 versus 1 in a matter of seconds. Very fast round. Very strong play from Tipic. So we are getting started into the 4th round here. It's going to be more difficult. Like you said, the economy completely flipped, so there's a lot more defensive utility thrown down. They're going to be static field emitters, trip mines, door blockers, all the util to break through for FOU, and they don't have full util themselves. Pretty decent buy they've got so far, though. It's like Lolo saving into that Spectral to help stack up the rest. Nice nade coming into the arcade is going to not quite find any damage onto player Pixel, but it looks like once again we're seeing a pressure into the wine. I wonder if that is a thing about the EU meta.
Yeah,
like you said, North America tends to favor pressuring that B through the hole in the wall, crunching onto the storage side. Tipic once again starting things off with a nice little 2-piece, and it's a 3v5 already.
The trio that's left alone on the other side hadn't even had their chance to get down and start pushing in through the wall. Blind fire coming through, harassing PGO3. That's all an understanding of standard positions. They know if they shoot a certain place on this wall that they're going to be putting rounds right at the entry of the stairs, which is a common spot that you're going to see players hold. Tipic ready for PGO3 there as Exodent tries to catch Tipic on the rotation back inside A site. They're going to be comfortably tucked in, and, well, we're talking about saves, Phil. This is a moment where you say, hey, another solid hold from VRF. Let's just pocket these 2 rifles and get onto the roof for safety.
Yeah, I agree. There's not really much value. Like we said, VRF's got so much money in the bank now. There's not much value in even taking a couple guns off of them because they're going to pretty much have a full buy next round either way. And FOU is struggling now for money. And after that round, there's going to be not a lot of money in the bank for them to work with. And so it's going to be a tricky way to finish out this second half, this first half.
You do the math. Well, no, actually, they're coming on a second loss, so they're getting $2,000 off of this loss because it's the second in a row. And so they'll have enough for 4 rifles. I was just thinking that they wouldn't be able to buy in to more than another rifle. So it'd only be 3 rifles, 2 pistols. Is that really enough to warrant, not doing anything? But I think they'll get that $2,000 after your first loss. It's $1,500, a second loss in a row, and every loss thereafter, from my understanding, is $2,000 into the pockets. And so there's going to be enough there for almost a full buy coming in from FOU into the next round. But I say almost because I don't think they're going to get 4 rifles or 5 rifles.
Yeah. Right, it'll be 4. They have the 2 they're saving here, and then Lolo and Exodent have just enough to be able to buy. Exodent's going to need someone to attach up that rifle that Vezin he buys. But they will get 4 fully equipped Vezins. They'll have a little bit of util to work with as well, and I think that's the way to go because there's only 2 rounds left in this first half before we get another reset to the pistol round. So you really want you buy into this round and get a chance to win this round and bring momentum into the last round and win 2 rounds as opposed to saving here and just being able to buy in the last round, forcing it for the last. I think this is the right play. It's the right call. It's good. It's good to see that on EU they've got the economic meta figuring out just as much as we've seen it advance in NA. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is. I am seeing a bunch of folks hanging out in chat. We do appreciate seeing everyone stopping by and enjoying the action. Please hit that thumbs up button. Helps with the algorithm, gets us maybe some more faces that for people that don't know what VRML is or Breachers or VR esports. We love to get that out to more people, so do please help boost that stream, boost the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, I see a bunch of questions. Why are we on Twitch, not YouTube? I mean, I've been enjoying YouTube a lot personally, and it still has most of the features you'll see on Twitch. I do see, can we do clips? You can do clips. You should be doing clips, Phil. There's like already been 4 or 5 clip-worthy moments so far this stream.
Yeah, Typic's come out with some crazy plays. We've seen. I mean, just FOU putting some pressure onto a practically undefeated team right off the gate. It's been an exciting championship so far, and it's only going to get better as the day goes on. I'm glad. We're off to a really hype start.
We certainly are, and we'll see if it continues to be hype. It is for Typical Light as they pick up their first kill on the bottom floor. Exodin's in a battle to try and get rid of this roamer, but they can't, and Typical will rotate back, potentially drop completely off of this bottom stair hold, and go up the back stairs to rejoin their team 5v4 with an advantage in their pocket. Or they'll may change what they've been doing and not rotate back and continue to be a threat on this bottom floor, which is what Exodin is concerned about. I was talking about the start of the breaches last time on this round. No door blocker, no trip mine. Look at how great they just breached through that. Grenade underneath. It didn't quite catch the static emitter, so that's going to be a problem for Namo, but it's not a problem for Lolo and Namo to find the headshot. So it's right back into the advantage of FOU.
This is great. It's like a deja vu from exactly how the pistol went, except Typical Light, after getting that pick and falling back, is now re-aggressing on the downstairs. And like you mentioned, they aren't exactly paying attention too much to the flank. So if he finds the timing here, it's a 2v4, though. He's going to have to make something happen, as now we see Exodin being a little bit wary of that flank. It's all about the timing as his head peeks up over the stairs and Tippett finds the headshot. Now it's still 2 versus 3 and Pixel down to just 4 points of health. It's not easy to get back into this round. It's a powerful post-plant situation. This top bomb site has worked out really well for French on You so far in this map.
They're going to get a heal off. Typic has rotated back. Pixel is connected. It's a 2 almost full health VRF defenders up against 3 remaining, trying to push in this EMP. And the EMP is ticking. They are running out of time. They have to get in here soon and try and defuse this.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight. They're going to push in and get a couple of kills really quickly. Maybe have one person stick the defuse while the other person holds, or maybe we might see
a save
coming up. I don't know. They have so much money in the bank. I don't think there's really much value to saving here, but I don't think they have time. They might as I guess they're just going to default to saving. I guess because Pixel rotated all the way downstairs to get that heal. After rotating back up, I guess they didn't want to push up the main lobby staircase. They just ran out of time. It happens. There's only, I think, 45 seconds to a minute once that EMP goes down for you to get back in the round. Pressure was on. They couldn't keep up.
We may have underestimated the how strong the save is in the EU meta because we were talking about how it's just started to happen in NA. These guys are very clearly wanting to hold on to their guns round to round, and you know it makes sense when you look at the score lines of these teams in the past. They are close when they've especially for FOU when they've lost, they tied on the score line on one of their losses, and then another one of their losses was by 3 rounds. So like FOU fights, they stick in there for their rounds. They do not make things easy, but they do have these 3 losses on their record. VRF are unscathed so far. They've had 10 rounds won against them, so they're not undefeated on rounds, Phil. That's a little bit that would be too much. But they are undefeated in series. And so right now FOU are one strong foot in front of the next, in the lead 3-2 on their attacking set. The final round, the full buys, everyone putting in everything here before we swap sides and reset with the pistols.
Definitely no team quite that undefeated. I would say if there's a team that was undefeated on rounds, I would say check the system. Let me see them do it at LAN. I don't believe it. But FOU definitely fighting tooth and nail here. Actually still up in this map 3-2. Our last round of the first half before we go to our side swap, and both teams able to bring a fully kitted Vezins, full buys into this round. It's been a really back and forth match so far as a second drone gets taken out. The Fire Nade coming in. Typic once again here to defend in this arcade, this time by himself without a lot of support. And for the third time in a row on this bottom bomb site, we see FOU taking through Wine Cellar. This just seems to be their preferred way to attack this bottom floor.
And I gotta wonder if FOU is adapting at this point. Do they know that VRF sets up so heavily on defense here? Oddly enough, VRF aren't set up heavily on defense now. So are we seeing adjustments from VRF to change things on how they're doing? I don't know why you would adjust what's worked so well on your A defense. It could actually backfire if you let FOU set up for the breach on A. But I was also wrong when they breached on A and lobby last time and completely overwhelmed this offense. And there is a kill out the gate to make it 4v5. Noctilus catches one on the back end. Typic goes down. That's a big kill. Typic has been a vital roamer for the defense.
Yeah, so 4v4, Typic going down is definitely a big deal, but still 4 men strong on both sides, and the damage is coming through. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was the mind games. I think maybe VRF thought there's no way they go wine 3 times in a row, right? Because we do see a lot of static field emitters and door blockers and things of that nature set up over towards the B bomb site. So yeah, maybe you just all about the mind games here. Is player Pixel picking up the position right where Typic left off, and God Jambo picking up Namo on the front side down to a 2 versus 4 and make that a 1. Oh man,
no.
Just like that, it's over. Beautiful closeout from VRF to tie it up 3-3 going into the second half. They really finished strong there. That was impressive.
That was a counter push. That was a timed counter push on VRF. They almost synced it up perfectly when right as FOU tried to breach in, we saw incendiary nades on the backside, a flank start to come in, and it stopped FOU from doing whatever they were gonna do. They had a plan. They had smokes coming in. They had a hole opened up. They were gonna push in, smoke plant against that wall, and then rotate out. And they just, got system shocked by that counter push and a beautiful shutdown there from VRF. Keeps things dead even, Phil. 3-3. We go to a full reset. We might as well be at the very start of this series. We couldn't ask, in my opinion, for a better start to this EU championship. FOU and VRF are delivering, and we'll see if they can keep delivering. Hideout certainly has been exciting, but we got maps like Skyscraper and Factory on the docket in this best of 3. Could be 2 maps and done, technically, but at this rate, I think we're going to probably go the distance. We'll have to see as we do dive into round 7, the full reset.
Yeah, and the round got off to a really quick start. Accident finding a nice nade out the door, and he finds Pixel and gets some get some damage onto player Pixel. Oh, we got Typic and Typical, and then we have Pixel and player Pixel.
Yeah.
How did we miss that one?
I know.
Another headshot on the Pixel. The flash comes through. Accident completely flashed out, and the push comes in.
Wow.
He is going to get completely crunched. I didn't even see God Jambo push in from the laundry
Good
side.
timing.
But yeah, this round got off to a really fast start. Actually, I think one of the fastest opening picks I've ever seen onto I think it was Accident, and through that window. I think he was just standing right behind the window that they chose to breach in and got accidented. But it's a 3v4 now to defend for FOU. And the pistol round, like we talk about, ever so important as Namo trying to get aggressive into that B bomb site. Almost finds the kill on the Jambo. But that leaves Noctilus and Lolo in a 2 versus 4 retake. EMP going down.
Seems to be the FOU strat, honestly, is the retake. They don't seem to be too afraid of pushing back in on the attacking team. I think it is, in my opinion, a little bit harder to do than just defending outright, but it's worked well for VRF so far. But will it work here as Jambo almost finds the kill onto the back? A nice pickup there from Noctilus as they catch Typical Light trying to flank around. But with minimal health, they're going to have to find a 1-2 on a Jambo and player, which isn't too hard considering Jambo has 7 HP. And are we seeing a save on the pistol round? I think we are. I think Noctilus is going to try and deny them the 150 into the pocket of finding the kill.
This is something that I don't think I've seen on any region. NA, and mainly NA I've been watching, but a pistol save, that's something new. And it actually kind of makes sense if you think about it. going into the second round, especially if you lose the pistol, you're not having money for any rifle. So that pistol, that's $500 that you would have to invest to have that pistol in the next round. And like you said, denying them the $150 of getting the kill, that is, I think I might have just learned something to add to my little black notebook.
I know, right? This is what you get when you go across the pond, as they say, and venture into the EU stratosphere. It is a exciting time. I mean, hey, what have we been missing out on, Phil, when we haven't been able to jump into those games in the middle of the afternoon for us? Ultimately, now we're here on a Saturday morning, and we're catching fantastic matchups. Saturday night, Sunday morning. I don't know what time it is for people that are watching. Okay, but I do appreciate everyone tuning in and enjoying that action. I see a bunch of those thumbs ups coming in on the live stream. We do really appreciate that. Keep that coming. And as you sub, again, we appreciate your support. We do a lot of broadcasts here. We put a lot of work in, and it's only been the preseason, Phil. If this is any indicator of what to expect for 13 to 15 weeks of regular season gameplay for Season 1 with a prize on the line, these guys aren't even playing for prizing. They're just playing for the bragging rights of being the #1 team.
Yeah, I can't even wait. Once that prize pool gets announced, we see these teams step up to a whole new level of dedication to breachers and really pull out all the stops in terms of preparation and training and all that. It's exciting. I'm always excited for the future of VR esports and specifically breachers. It's been a great game. Shout out to Triangle Factory for giving us such an awesome game to bring us all this action. As we do see, look at this investment from VRF. 4 Vezins in hand. That is a confident second round buy. They can't lose. They're like, you won't even be able to kill 2 of us. For that confident, as Tipic starts things off with a nice pick on an accident. PG tries to get aggressive. Tipic immediately shuts that down. Wall gets blown. 3 members here quickly taking this A bomb site and getting the EMP planted. Oh, as a couple of kills come out, and just like that, that's a rifle recovered in the hands of Nemo. This round could be turning around.
Oh, a big second pickup there. Player Pixel does get the plant, but it's a 3v2. Make it a 1v2. A nice nade there. Doesn't catch Nemo. That was so close to just being around the corner and being the end of Nemo's defensive hold on A. But the plant's down. And so Pixel, with only, unfortunately, a Cyclone in hand, is going to drop back, and they're going to save too. They're going to let this... wow. Okay, well, hey, yeah, we really underestimated the value of saving in the EU region right now. Both these teams really respecting every dollar, which makes sense. Why wouldn't you? And I see what they were doing.
I get it now. Yeah, that's so unfortunate that he was the only one on the team that did not have a rifle in hand for the post plant. That round could not have fallen apart any more extremely. They invested so heavily into that second round. That's the most Vezins you'll ever see a team buy on the second round, just economically, at the most that you can do. And they invested fully into it and didn't even win the round. Never mind losing enough lives to not recover those Vezins. They gave up 2 of them and lost the round. That just shows you how much of a gamble those second round buys can be. Because like we've seen, one of those, they pick up a couple of kills, recover one of the rifles, and that can really sway the round, the way the round goes. It's just crazy to see. That was a really solid defense from French on You. We got to give them the credit there where credit is due. Very solid play, and I think VRF are going to be, struggling economically now from that one.
Yeah, taking a look at the KDs, we have 8-6, 8-4 from Noctilus and Namo respectively, but Tipic standing out as the shooter on VRF, 10-6 so far. Definitely the big plays we've seen so far have come in through Tipic with the triple kill on that one defensive set, still fresh in my mind. And while it didn't work out well for them there, however. So, we'll see what we get as we get into round 9. It's going to be an eco round, and on the other side, full rifle buys for FOU. They get to also eco. They're saving money because they, like we've said, got to hold on to those 2 extra rifles. It is just... you're just hoping to do some damage, really.
Yeah, at this point, keep the pressure up. You got a couple of pistols. You got a Taurus on the hands of Tipic, who immediately takes a bunch of damage as Exodus and PG are pushing up that staircase. Nade comes through. They're pre-firing around the corner. He's in a tough spot. He's not going to be able to escape. And Shirley does go down.
Oh, no.
A lot of attackers here, but the rifles versus pistols is coming out in FOU's favor big time. As it's down to a 5 versus 3 now. And VRF are going to have to change their plan as they've lost control of the garage entirely.
The EMP plant comes in. That was a weird play from FOU. They invested so heavily in the garage upstairs that they just didn't defend the objective. We have kills coming in. Finally, PGO3 shuts down Typical Light, but they find 1. That's good damage done. The plant is money into VRF's pockets, and now Player Pixel is harassing and chipping away at the health bars of the FOU team. If they can find another kill, it would be big. They can't, but nonetheless, not a terrible round. A pretty good eco round for VRF, honestly. I mean, that's a bomb plant and a kill. What more do you really want?
I agree. Solid result from them. I think they're going to be happy with that. Like, we were so distracted with them losing the fight up in the garage. I didn't even realize they were getting an EMP plant down on B. It was beautiful distraction up there. Yeah, well, I think they're going to be happy with that result. 1 kill on the board and an EMP plant. That's going to help them recover from the economic damage that was done in the previous round. So now you're going to see them able to fully invest into this round, get fully kitted rifles and some utility to boot. But on the other side, FOU still looking strong. They're up 5-4. They've got all the utility they could want, plenty of money in the bank. They're not going to be forced onto a save round anytime soon.
Yeah.
Still really strong map showing from them. I think they're in a good spot. But this is an all important round, right? This is where you either go up onto map point or VRF starts a little bit of a comeback momentum, one way or the other, going into round number 10.
I do think, again, we look at the stats. This is VRF's worst map and FOU's best map. So keep that in mind, too, because we could be going into Skyscraper next, where it's the reverse. And maybe we see VRF gaining more momentum map 2. Maybe we see that map 3 decider. But who knows? We're not even there yet. We're not done with map 1 just yet. VRF aren't out of things here just yet, as they do set up for a B site push. They've gone A site in the lobby for almost every time we've had this objective. We haven't seen a B push come through yet, but it seems to be the potential priority here as everyone's set up on B site.
Yeah, I think this is a very underrated site to attack. The meta, I think, will shift more here later. If you can get control of the back hall area, they already have control of the bedroom area. If they can take control of back halls and then start to foam, I think, God, getting spammed through the wall as Nemo finds a really dirty wall bang and finds a second. That is crazy from Nemo. Take your notebooks out and remember that one. Look at that. He's playing from the metal, shooting through the doorway, through the wall, through the bookcase, and out the other side. That is crazy, finding 2 kills. I think you're going to see that spot get spammed a lot more moving forward. Now it's 3v5, but still, if they can get control of that back hall, like I was saying, and foam up these 2 walls onto B, it is a great site to crunch on it and put a lot of cross pressure, get the crossfires going as an attacking team. So I think that's still going to be the plan.
Blink and you would miss it, Phil. They swapped rifles with Nemo so they have more ammo in their gun because they were spamming on defense through the wall. So they swapped it with another player who I do believe just went down on the back end there. And now Nemo has a more ammo in the rifle here to suppress through these walls. There's so many finite things going on in the heat of battle that you could... I mean, like you said, these wall bangs, weapon swaps, and now the push finally coming in from B. But that's static emitter, a big threat if they do want to try and push in.
Yeah, I gotta say that is very much impressing me, the amount of coordination that these teams are bringing to the table. They came to play. Typical Light finding exit in there in the back hall as a dude evened it up to a 3 versus 3. But Nemo still standing strong on this metal, still finding more damage through that bookcase.
Crazy.
Those extra ammunition from his team coming in clutch already. And it looks like PGO3 is going to find a pick onto the back side, finding 2, and now it's all down to player picks on a 1 versus 3 from that bedroom side. He does have EMP in hand. 26 seconds left on the clock, though. He's running out of time here.
They really got to get rid of Nemo. They are such a powerful threat there, peeking left and right. And Player Pixel isn't safe on that spot, in that corner spot where they think they are. Bullets coming through that almost catch their head. Again, that wallbang not known, clearly. And there's the round over. Another save. Maybe player just didn't feel comfortable backing out in any direction. PGO3 is pushing it. They'll find the kill, but not at the cost of another player's life. At least they get one more. But FOU coming out on top with the round win, coming out on top with the economy. Full bot forced buys coming in from VRF now. They can only tie this round. That's their only option left at this stage. They cannot win map 1.
It's really interesting. We were talking at the beginning about how VRF was the home team, and we suspected we'd go to Skyscraper first. I have a theory. I think instead of picking the first map, they chose to pick defense. Yeah, and that's why we're seeing the first map being Hideout, which is FOU's best map and VRF's worst map. So really a strong pick by them, and it's coming in. It's paying off nicely for them as they are on map point here. The worst they can do on the first map is a tie. So we are going to see a third map decider regardless of what happens here.
Yes.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Assuming we tie. I'm sorry. Right. If they can, FOU wins. I'm like planning Skyscraper. If they're so strong on Skyscraper, I'm imagining that there's no way they lose that. But if VRF manages to tie it here, then we'll be guaranteed a map 3 decider. But I do think, I think we're going to go to probably Skyscraper next. Unless actually FOU will have the choice then to also pick the map. They can then just pick. They can pick Factory. So we might be going to Factory next.
Which makes me think that maybe VRF predicted all of this. Maybe they're anticipating, hey, we're not going to do well on Hideout, so let's just pick side. We know they're going to then pick Hideout because it's their favorite map. And then they're banking on these next 2 maps to be a little bit more close. I mean, who knows? Either way, they're on the cusp of losing map number 1 in this best of 3. But it's not done just yet. They got to make their entry. And FOU fully equipped and ready. Yeah.
I think we might be seeing the EU meta favoring the wine because VRF is also choosing to go in through the wine, and Noctilus seemed prepared for this from the shower bathroom, throwing a grenade out from the 3rd floor and catching Tipic. And Tipic, the one of the spearheads of the attack of VRF here, dropping right at the beginning of the round. Just hard read that they were going to go wine side. And yeah, now to a 4v5. VRF backs against the wall. It's a force by 4 RCPs in hand. They've got to make it happen here as it's Exoed in here to defend. PG also there to back him up is going to drop Player Pixel, trying to drop a nade. Pixel with RCP is going to trade PG out, but Exoed getting aggressive, dropping it down to a 4 versus 2. All down to typical Light and the God Jambo.
Well,
just like that, that's our first map going the way of FOU. So they're doing it. That's their first step on the road to giving VRF their first official loss here in the preseason. That isn't a forfeit. Yeah, it's exciting. What a great first map to start things off. Nightfire, that was awesome action, Breachers action, back and forth the whole way through. I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
That was great. How did you like that first map?
That's good quality, high tier breachers. You know, that's the top teams from the EU side are definitely bringing it. Clear understandings of the map, clear strategies coming in, clear economic plays coming in. You know, even counter strategies being deployed here this afternoon. Saves, focusing on, you know, it's every dollar mattering. This and map 1 just delivers on Hideout. What a stellar start to a long weekend of Breachers gameplay. This is just game 1, map 1. We still have potentially 2 more maps to go if VRF can bring back and lock in this next map. Otherwise, FOU can wrap up this series, advance on to the semifinals by just winning our next map, wherever we do head for it. From there, we have another series after this. That will be Niffen versus Revolt VRL. Oh, I remember that off the top of my head. That's crazy. I'm so smart. Nice. Niffen versus Revolt. That matchup, I'm favoring Revolt, but hey, you know, we're already seeing. I know I was on VRF's side going into this, and we're already seeing FOU taking the first map. So, what is going to happen for map number 2? I'm trying to get the info here. We may be going into a timeout. We are. A little bit of a break for the players. They can do a little bit of a headset charge, a little bit of a bio break. Before we go, a quick shout-out to everyone tuning in. We appreciate you all for stopping by and enjoying the action. We're seeing a bunch of new faces in chat. We appreciate you stopping by. Please do hit that subscribe button. Your support means everything to us, and we'd love to see you come back for next weekend where we will have the semifinals and the finals. The best teams ultimately in the preseason duking it out. This is to say that it all leads up to Season 1, which is just down the line. It's not that far away. Some people are complaining, oh, how do I go? How do I go a whole couple of weeks without VRML? I get you. I get it, okay. I understand too. But it does start September 11th, Season 1. And so if you want to get involved in something like this, you can. You can start practicing. You can start playing. Teams are recruiting. You can join the Discord. You could be playing on a Breachers team, competing in that regular season ladder for a chance to be one of the top 8 teams to advance on to the postseason, where there will be prizes on the line that come from our sponsors, who are ProTube VR, offering fantastic stocks that stabilize your aim in-game with the MagTube stock attachment. It is my favorite tool for any VR shooter. It also enhances immersion quite a bit, but they got even more enhanced versions of that have force feedback in the stock so you can feel the recoil when you're shooting. It's really cool. Please do check out ProTube VR. They've been a sponsor of the VRML since its inception, and we do really appreciate their support. Also, HyperX coming in with the Cloud 2s, the Quadcast S, the thing you're hearing my voice on right now. I've had these for years, and I can attest to their quality, durability, and overall comfort. I highly recommend HyperX products. It's a no-brainer. Do please check them out if you can. And then obviously Triangle Factory, Phil, they produced us a fantastic game.
Shout outs to Triangle Factory. It's such an awesome game that we are enjoying. This Breachers action, it's really awesome. Like VR shooters, I've loved VR shooters for a long time, and none of them have really hooked me in as hard as Breachers has. This 5v5 Rainbow Six-esque, Counter-Strike-esque type of Valorant-esque action.
Yeah.
I'm a big Counter-Strike Valorant junkie, and no other VR shooter has really scratched the itch the way that this game has. So I'm super hyped and thankful to Triangle Factory, and the game is still being developed. We got a new map coming around the road, competitive modes coming. It's just, the game is so brand new. I'm so excited to see what is to come in the future.
There's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and in the future of today, even just the postseason for the preseason, the post-preseason championship. It's exciting times. We got such an awesome day for you guys. I think we may be seeing a time. I don't know if they're not doing a server swap, are they?
No, we're in an official timeout here, and so we are going to go to, I believe, just a 2 to 3 minute break. We're going to get a little bit of a rest here on our voices so that we can keep them fresh for a long day of action. But when we come back, it will be the start of round 2. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this Breachers action. When we come back, more top quality EU championships. Welcome back, everybody. We are here right in to map number 2, Phil. A lot of people thinking, where are we headed? Skyscraper, obviously factory. Those are the only 2 options. So you're 50-50 on if you're right or wrong on where we're going for map 2. But it does look like we are headed to the infamous factory. Wow, yeah, factory.
I was right.
For map number 2. And it's interesting. It feels like, to me, maybe VRF are saving their best map for last. Is that really a risky play you're going to take when you're down 1 map already? Who knows? We'll have to see how they perform here on Factory, but the breach is already coming. VRF is on the attack. FOU on the defense. FOU with 1 map in their pocket, looking to get a second one with a good round start here, but it doesn't go that way as the first kill comes in for Pixel, and they have full control of the locker room.
Flank.
Yeah.
Up the orange stairs, Noctilus and Lolo coming in from the back right now, and it's going to be God Jambo, the first one to drop, and the pressure comes in. Tipic with a nice Taurus headshot, and Pixel comes around with a Cyclone, evening things up. It's a 2 versus 3 now. Pixel down to just 7 points of health. All PG and Namo to defend. Still don't know which site they're trying to take here. They've got holes poked on both sides. Could go either way. It looks like B is the focus for both teams right now. Player Pixel and Pixel, both at 2 and 7 points of health respectively.
The Pixel Bros down to a pixel of health each. Although player does get a syringe. Interesting. That's a big buy in round 1.
Yeah. Like somebody saved to the Jesper and didn't upgrade their pistol, which is a very smart way to do it. I think that the pistol buy meta with the changes to the syringe pricing are going to evolve and have yet to fully evolve. As it looks like they do got the EMP down on the wall there. They didn't get it planted, but they've placed it on the wall as Namo drops, and PG getting aggressive. But
Tipic.
Just Tipic. But I thought that 3 kills from him. Nice 3-piece from Tipic to start things off. Really good start for VRF. But yeah, to go back to what you were saying about the map picks, I think VRF chose a side first for the first map, which is why we went Sky. And now the main thing that confuses me is or hideout first, right? The main thing that confuses me is FOU chose Factory, right? Wanting to dodge Skyscraper, which is VRF's best map.
Yep.
But VRF chose to attack first. So I wonder, that's the thing that gets me the most about this map.
It's so hard to tell.
It's like, I think maybe we're going to see that they have some really good attacking ideas on this map, which is why they're favoring the attack side or wanting to start on attack, or maybe they just want to anchor and close it out on defense. Maybe they're, I don't know. It's exciting. I'm definitely got my little black notebook out here. I'm going to be taking notes on the attacking setups because they seem to be confident on the attacking side so far. That pistol take, I mean, it was a really good double flank up the stairs from Noctilus and Lolo, but they immediately reacted and shut it down. Their awareness was there. They got the first pick and the calls came in, and the adaptation was very quick. The adaptation, I mean, rather. So really good stuff so far. And you're seeing look at this second round buy. They've got 2 omens in hand, and they're doing like a little light buy. So instead of heavily investing into the Vezins like they did last time when they that round just fell apart as a Vezin fell into the hands of the opponents and they lost. After buying 4 of them, they're going to choose to buy a couple omens, and then it doesn't matter if you even lose this round. You got a full buy next round, and you didn't give up any guns to the opposing team.
Yeah, it's just a good adaptation from them, and also reading your team, knowing that they're going to be ecoing round 2. Some defensive teams will force buy also. God Jambo on the back end catches Exodus, but the full push is coming in on B side as nades come through and B opens up. Lolo swings on the backside, almost catches 2, but player Pixel and Tipic are still well and alive as God Jambo finishes off the final defender. VRF absolutely overwhelm FOU, and they didn't need to be hey, go with the pistols. I guess it works. They take round 2 in dominant fashion, and now they can comfortably full buy. They don't need to be worrying about picking up rifles into round 2. FOU, on the other hand, are taking that risk on defense, no less. They have to full buy, and if they lose here, another eco round. So this is the next 2 rounds on the line right now.
Yeah, this is the round where you see some of the teams have different economic strategies. Most of the teams going this route where you save in the second, after you lose pistol, you save second round, you get a full buy on the third round. We see a couple of teams, I think like Infinity is one that stands out, where they will invest a little bit more into the second round, planning to either win and then get back on the economy, or then save again on the third round and get a better buy. The problem with this strategy that most teams are adapting is that you don't have as much money for utility, right? We see got one static field emitter down, a trip mine, and not a lot of like door blockers and proximity sensors. These things are pretty expensive pieces of utility, and in order to get rifles in everybody's hands and fully kit them out, you're not going to have as much money for the utility. As we see a crunch right down the hatch, player pixel immediately drops in. God Jambo coming in the back hall and finding the kill onto accident, but the trades come through in the favor of VRF. They now have control of this back hall. The two other teammates are going to push into the vending machine side, and this whole blue side of the map is once again under the control of VRF. They look really confident attacking on the top floor here on Factory.
I see in chat some people saying Skyscraper is not our best map. Maybe this is maybe this is VRF's favorite territory, because like you said, they're comfortable as they push in. Utility comes out, smokes are here, EMP plants down, but FOU are confident in the retakes, so we'll see what they can do here. 3 left alive. They're not out of the woods yet, and they've been able to retake several rounds so far, so let's see what VRF does on the hold. Defensive utility coming in, a defensive smoke there to shut down any lines of sight, able to hold down the EMP. It's smart. It forces Tipic into the doorway, but Tipic wins the exchange, takes it down to 2, and we're into a 4v2, make it a 1v4. As another shot there through the smoke, blind fire from Light comes through. Noctilus trying to look for the double. They can't transfer the typical Light in time. 2 more would have been on the docket for them to kill, and a nice hold from VRF. Some damage done from FOU, but that's going to hurt FOU more than it hurts VRF. That is another eco round that they're going to have to suffer through, Phil.
Yeah, that is very interesting to see. I wonder if like the meta at the top level will start to advance. You know, on a map like Factory, on the top floor, you got a team like VRF that is so confident. They're displaying a very high level of confidence. Even with the post plant setup there, they had the MP planted in a spot where could watch it. They had a guy on the roof who could just watch it through the hatch, through the hole in the wall. It's a very strong plant. I wonder if we'll see something like FOU after saving on the second round. They get the top floor bombs again, and they know how strong VRF is, and they choose to just save and bring guns instead into this 4th round where they have a middle floor bomb setup. And they think they have a higher chance of winning, because that looked very difficult to hold. If you're an FOU fan, that's just a crushing round. They had full rifles in everybody's hands, and it was just a dominant performance. I think they only 1 person dying on VRF. But getting started into this 4th round, it's going to be difficult for FOU with nothing but pistols in hand, and VRF looking to continue this tear of dominance.
Yeah, it is a tear, and they are definitely dominantly in control right now. Just looking to do damage on the pistols as the push already starting to come through on B site. And look at this bit of an aggressive rotation on defense outside for a moment was one of them. But they rotated back, and everyone's here trying to defend. Little utility nade comes through, does good damage to Tipic.
Yeah, both of the walls getting blown onto the B bomb side. It looks like that's going to be the focus. Noctilus finding one, and God Jambo getting some friendly fire. But Pixel charging through with a nice little triple kill, followed up by typical Light. Now it's all down to Noctilus. And being that he was the one that did that push on the outside, his position is not going to be too much of a surprise here. It's for the attackers.
They need to get these heals off. 4 HP, 20 HP. The pistol is still effective, but Tipic Light chunks down Noctilus good. And are we going to see another save? I think we might. We may see another body save. Oh, what is Noctilus doing? Are they going to go... Wow. Are they going to die to...
Oh, you got a rifle.
No, but he's going to...
this move.
Oh, my...
He'll make it back.
Nope.
Oh, but they were ready for it.
Wow.
Yeah, I respect the attempt, but yeah, the only way he was going to get back in was through that skylight. And that's the same rotation he made before when he picked up a kill, but a solid attempt on both sides. I think that's a good way to, if you could bring that rifle in the next round, that would have been huge value. It was very worth the risk, and VRF was very much aware and ready for it.
Rifle buys again because they ecoed that last round. They get that 2,000 because of the consecutive losses. And so the full buy isn't necessarily as devastating as you were just talking about, Phil, on round 2. Because there's a little bit more of a cushion, they can actually get a little bit of utility. We're seeing some grenades come in, some health syringes, a door blocker. But ultimately, with that investment, that puts them back down to 0. So they're committing full buys here into round 4, but at least there's going to be a little bit more to it than what we saw in round 2.
Now, without a doubt, the economic advantage is heavily in VRF's favor. They're going to get this mostly full buy out here, and I think this is the way to do it. Like, there's only 2 rounds left. You got to try and win them both. Oh, and an immediate kill from Noctilus. Says typical Light trying to push in through that window, and they were just ready. The drone also immediately getting taken out, and he's got a backup drone. Typic gonna push the second drone out immediately. And yeah, good start here for FOU, looking to put their first round on the board here on defense on Factory. It's been a rough start for them here on map 2. They're definitely looking to change the pace of this.
Well, the double investment on second story when you have a bottom floor objective is big. They are committing to the aggression, and it definitely paid off on the early kill. But now B site is woefully unguarded. They don't have a ton of utility here except for a door blocker on the back door. Nemo's here, PGO3 is here, and the potential of a flank from Noctilus and Lolo is slowly barreling down towards the VRF team. That's why Typic is here on the back door to defend. But how long? And how long will VRF wait? Not long at all as that door opens up. Lolo and Noctilus continue to crawl their way forward as Nemo fends off the breach. Typic here holding the back entry, but they drop coverage, but nobody checks Typic's corner. Everybody dies before Typic also checks the corner. And then in a chaotic finale, PGO3 finds the final kill.
Oh, Typic almost got the ace there. He got the 2 kills, turns around, gets a quad kill, 2 kills the 2 people in the front. Everybody on his team just melted around him, and he picks up a quick 4K out of nowhere and then loses the 1 versus 1 to PGO3. Ooh. Really clutch from PGO3 to finish that out and shut the ace down. Man, what a round that was. I wonder if it was preparation on the side of FOU being so ready for VRF to breach in on that top floor. Maybe a little bit prepared for the attacking idea there, getting things started off. But we're going to see FOU put their first round on the board, 1-4 now, still a dominant scoreline. And like we said, VRF has so much money in the bank, they're going to be able to fully buy into this round and get full utility. Wow, that was a doozy.
That is... Oh, man, we're off to the races, to say the least. Again, the EU side delivering on what is otherwise fantastic back-and-forth action. It's what we expected out of FOU. You look at their match history. They fight for every single match that they've played. Every loss is close that they've played, and they're not looking to lose. They're looking to win here. If they can get a second point on the board on defense, it sets them up for at least the opportunity to do what VRF have done here on the attack, in which case, if they do, they could be winning map 2 and the elimination round here. They do not want to lose. If you lose this series, you're done for the preseason.
Definitely, as Noctilus and Lolo start things off with the first opening picks. Player Pixel dropping down the hatch and getting the first kill for VRF, but Noctilus is there. Pixel also dropping down and trading him out, but they're not ready for Exodin, and look at this coordination from both teams to make this such a chaos back and forth of gunfights, as now it's just Typic alone in a 1 versus 2, but we know how good Typic is in these clutch situations, just putting on a clinic. He's got an amazing shot, and I don't know. Even though they have the numbers advantage, I say this is almost a 50-50 round for VRF.
It's pushes, counter pushes, defensive, like the back line that's there to defend from the counter push, and everything just, like you said, mixing together. Both teams coming in with their coordination and their focus here, and this is well, an exciting round 6. After this, we reset. No point in saving. It all comes down to Typic pushing the 1v2 and winning. Otherwise, it is going to be FOU with their second defensive round in the pocket. VRF really want to push this up, obviously. 5-1. It sets them up for the opportunity to bang out this map with 2 pistol rounds next. And that's big. That opportunity is big because those pistol rounds you can end up force buying, you can ruin economies, you can get better it just all of the mental impact it has is really a valuable element there. And so it puts more strain on the pistol round against your opponent. It means a lot. But if FOU can get this, then they have a little bit more cushion. They have the option to eco if they have to. They don't have to force buy into round 6. And so, let's see. Both walls opened up. How does Typic push in? A nice immolation nade there.
Yeah, I really like the way Typic's playing this. He gets the first kill on the exit and then finds the second. Beautiful play.
No!
He blows the... That was just genius. I love it. He breaches the wall onto A first, then breaches the wall towards B to make them think that the breach towards A was a fake because he obviously had to shift over to B, and then he rotates back into A, gets control of the site, doesn't even go for the plant. He just charges through and finds the 2 headshots with the positioning. Beautiful aggressive play there from Typic to close that out after playing so patient in the 1v2, finding that instant aggression. What a clinic he's putting on here. What's his score line? He's up 12 kills, 3 deaths, and an assist. Just dominant performance from Typic. Definitely a guy we're gonna have to keep an eye on moving forward in the series. That's our side swap.
Yeah, that is the attacking set done for VRF. They now have the chance of locking in these 2 pistol sets and taking map 2, pushing us to the map 3 decider, where it's Skyscraper. Ultimately, statistically, VRF's preference, or should be at least, where VRF have that statistical advantage. But we've seen those statistical advantages really not mean a whole lot at the end of the day when it does come to the postseason, Phil, because it is chaos. There are interesting plays, interesting saves, more focus than I think ever coming through here in these next 2 weekends.
Yeah, and I think something interesting, when someone pointed out in the chat that Sky wasn't their best map, it makes me wonder if the reason their percentage is so high is because they don't play it as often. Well, I guess in VRML, you play all 3 maps every time. So, yeah, no, that actually shuts that idea down. It was a thought. It was wrong, but it was a thought.
Yeah.
We are going into the all-important pistol round here in the second half. FOU on the attacking side. They're really looking to put 1 on the board and get the momentum started in their favor, and it's going to be, it looks like all 5 members of FOU pushing in. They have this locker control. Looks like they're following the drone. I don't know if the drone saw Typic up here. They're looking to play hatches.
PG just shot at their own drone. Just their reflex kicking in of seeing something and shooting it. They almost just shot their own drone. Typic there, the shoulder peeks out. They don't see PG-03, but Typic with the Taurus has been a powerful element for VRF so far.
He's in the spot to get 1 and fall back. I wonder why they foamed the wall on the top floor. Do they know? They seem to know he's here, but they don't at the same time. But he gets immediately traded out by PG-03, so the damage not too devastating there on the roam. Down to a 4 versus 4 now. I wonder why that wall doesn't seem to give them a lot of advantage. No. The bombs are down below. I wonder if there's some confusion there on FOU. Maybe the nerves coming in, or
prioritization in shutting down that push.
Maybe the drone did spot him out there, and they just really wanted to make sure they cleared him out. Pixel finding a nice kill with the Cyclone, no less, through that crack in the kitchen into the orange staircase, and it is going to be a push through the orange staircase. Nemo with the EMP in hand, charging into the kitchen. Drop from PG-03, Lolo holding outside. Typical's going to drop PG. The EMP gets put down on the wall, but now Nemo is left in a 1 versus 4, and the crunch comes in, and just like that, that is VRF going up to map point and winning the pistol. Pressure mounting. The FOU backs against the wall here. Even though they lost the pistol, normally we'd see teams save in this situation, but they can't lose another round here on the map, so they're going to have to force buy. We see Nemo picking up a Viper. Let's see if they got anything left in the tank. And will VRF once again? Yes, they're going with the safe buy route, buying a couple of omens and setting up to still have a full buy on the next round. Kind of a checkmate play, knowing that FOU has to force buy into this round and will therefore not be able to fully buy in the next round, regardless of what happens. They're not going to have any Vezins in hand. and VRF's going to have 5 Vezin strong. I really like this play from VRF here. Feels like a checkmate move to me.
That is, well, so far a dominant performance from VRF here on Factory. Makes me wonder what we're going to see on Skyscraper. And to your point, I think you are right. They probably play Skyscraper last. If they've won every match they've played, then that last map is, hard to win as a team that's lost the series early, and so it's likely that Skyscraper is just the last place they go, but they win the rounds there because they've already won the series. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I think there's some merit to that, to your point here, that it is their less preferred map, that they don't typically go into it, but it is still a map that they win on. Either way, we're not there yet. They still got to get one more in the pocket here, and FOU are full pushing in with confidence through the window. That was a full team jump through that window. They weren't afraid of anyone holding a rifle and shutting them down on their entry, but Typical Light finds some kills early, and Typic is going to be up next potentially on the action shopping block.
True. And one thing we missed, getting that 6th round on the board for VRF does mean we are guaranteed to go to Skyscraper after this map.
Right.
Regardless of what these next 5 rounds play out, or, this one round is turning out. It could be the last round here if FOU can't string this round together. We see all 4 of them attacking members once again taking control of the floor above. It looks like they're going to want to breach this hatch directly down onto the A bomb site, and there's only Jambo and, as I say that, Typic and Pixel kind of back up from the electric side. There are 3 members here, but that nade comes through and finds Pixel. Great way to open up the round for FOU, down to a 4 versus 4 now, and they did force spy here. They have the, the RCP and the Omen in hand, but Typical Light finds Lolo. Oh, man, now it's 3v4. This round is already back and forth.
Go either goodness. Way. Typical Light goes down on the rotation up top. It is a solid kill, but because they didn't overinvest, VRF isn't giving FOU anything too good. They're just giving them omens on these deaths. It's a smart choice to not overbuy when they do have such a large financial advantage. Again, they do not want FOU to be able to claw their way back in like they did in that first map on Hideout. They really did end up overinvesting, and it hurt them huge. So anyway, still just a round to go. If FOU can lock this attack in, though, we could be, like you said, playing for more, but ultimately just for the tie.
Yeah, this could very well be the last round of the map as God Jambo finds Noctilus. Now it's all on the shoulders of PG03 and Exodin, as Exodin does trade out God Jambo. PG pushed into this B bomb site, takes some damage from Typic, but the damage is done. Player Pixel does find Exodin, and that's going to be some sort of SMG into the hands if he chooses to pick it up, but he wants to do it with the Cyclone, and PG shuts it down. Nice little fake tap on the EMP and finding the aggression to catch Pixel off guard there. So they do it. They survive for another round, but here comes the checkmate move. This is where the pressure really mounts, as you're going to see all 5 members of VRF fully invest into Vezins, get them fully kitted out, and
it's almost
FOU
equal.
Have managed to scrape together. I mean, it looks like Exodin is going to keep the RCP and probably invest into some utility, maybe buy some attachments for his teammates. Yeah, he's going to buy some syringes, etc., to keep them on the map and stick with the RCP, but they got a pretty good full buy. I didn't think they were going to be able to afford that with how much they invested into the last round.
VRF are not allowing their first loss to happen just yet, Phil. That's the real important thing here, is that they managed to do well enough on Factory to push us to that third, like you said. So we just got to wait and see. What is FOU going to do? I mean, is you fight for the tie and then win map 3. I think it comes down to rounds 1.
Well, if they won map 1. So FOU won first map. They fight for the tie here, and then even if they just tie map 3, that's the dub for them. So if they could get these 4 rounds in a row, that would definitely be huge.
Oh, for
Take
FOU,
a little bit of
pressure. You're right.
Yep. But if VRF managed to close this out, then we're tied 1-1, which poses the question: we tie up 1-1 and then we draw on map 3,
yeah, I think
we
it comes
gotta
to,
have an elimination. It's gotta go to round 1.
I think it comes to how many rounds you've won.
Gotcha.
And so
yeah,
the
so it does
separation,
default to rounds 1.
I think, will be what determines that here, which is maybe why it's worth FOU fighting, just in case it does come down to a tie in map 3. Also, if we tied map 3, that's what would happen, because they would have each won a map. So it's all there's a lot to speculate still, but for now, it's like it's worth fighting for. At least FOU should not be giving up rounds just because they're down, and frankly, it would be pretty much against what we've seen FOU do, as they do fight for their losses when they happen. They do not let them come through easily. If this would have maybe have been the easiest or the fastest loss they've suffered so far, but for now at least, they are continuing to extend this along for a couple of more rounds. The rotation down to A looks good. A site is open. They could push in and potentially plant. Pixel is here on the corner to detract from that happening.
Yeah, it's a similar setup they had on the pistols. They blew the hatch over the kitchen. There was a quick drop down from Noctis, but they didn't take control of the site yet. There's still this annoying static field emitter behind the breachable wall. They do have the foam in hand. Lolo is going to find Tipic on the upstairs, so he found a timing on the roaming, and they were ready for it this time. So really nice adaptation from FOU here, and they've got the 5 versus 4 advantage now, and the wall gets blown. The drop comes in from Lolo. Immediately, Pixel finds the kill from the connector, but the trade's coming back through. It looks like control of this A bomb site slowly.
Oh,
as I say that, Pixel finds a double, and Tipple comes in the back. Oh, and just as it seemed like they were getting control of the bomb site, the crunch came in, and VRF are going to win Factory with a scoreline of 7-2. So dominant performance if they do manage to. Now all they need to do is tie on map 3 to win, I believe, if the math serves me right.
Yeah, I think you are correct. A exciting start to the EU Preseason Championship. Elimination rounds are what we're playing through right now. Group A. Tomorrow is Group B. Same time, same place. We have more games after this also. So another map coming up. Another game after that. Niffen versus Revolt. And then a little bit of a break and NA matches that we'll be jumping into. OA after that later tonight. There's so much Breachers, all of which should be much like this. I'm expecting this, honestly, Phil. At this point, my expectations have been met. This is what I was hoping for. It's a great back and forth. What more do we need?
I can't think of a better situation to have right here. Going to a map 3 decider, seeing how much back and forth action we've already seen. It could go either way. You know, VRF still technically undefeated, I would say, technically.
Yeah.
Or maybe technically not, however you want to look at it. It's debatable, but they're FOU is putting up a fight. They're looking to give them their first loss. But like we were talking about, we're going to Skyscraper, and the numbers don't lie. You know, maybe it's a mentality thing. You know, maybe, you know what it could be? It could be because they think Skyscraper is their worst map, and therefore every time they go to Skyscraper, everybody kind of digs that extra little bit deeper, knowing that it's their worst map. So they want to play that little bit better, and that's why they win so often on it. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know.
We can dig into the stats a little bit too. We are, and statistically, FOU have just more rounds in the pocket on every map. Hideout, they had 20 more rounds than VRF. Factory, they had almost 30 more rounds played than VRF. And now on Skyscraper, they have almost more than 20 rounds played in comparison to 47 to 69 of FOU. So there's a lot of experience in the pocket of FOU coming into Skyscraper. So I don't know that VRF are going to have an easy time here. Like people are saying, it's not necessarily VRF's best map. If anything, it's their least played map with the least amount of rounds played. They just win the most on them. So what are we getting for map 3? Pretty much a big question mark, which is perfect because that's what we want, Phil. It's all about the question marks and deciding who is the top team. Right now, VRF rank 2 are going up against FOU rank 7. After this, we have Revolt rank 6 going up against Niffen rank 11. And so a lot to look forward to today. But for now, we're going to go to a brief break. Before we do, a quick shout out again to our sponsors, ProTube VR, offering fantastic stocks that help stabilize your aim in game, and HyperX coming in with the Quadcast S, the Cloud 2s, and a whole bunch of other products that are high quality, from keyboards to mice, all of which I recommend. Do check them out. And then lastly, of course, Triangle Factory. We appreciate their support, and we're looking forward to announcing the Season 1 prize pool closer to Season 1 start, which is September 11th. So get signed up now, join a team, start preparing, start practicing, learn some stuff, watch some VOD, subscribe to the YouTube, hit the like button, don't go anywhere. More Breachers soon. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for map number 3 of Game 1 in the Preseason Championship Single Elimination Group A. That's the official branding there, Phil. I got it all out in one. Nothing too tongue-tied in that, just long-winded. But we are here in Group A for this final map, our Map 3 decider, no less, Phil. Again, what more do we need? What more could we ask for? It has been a beautiful back and forth. And we have VRF on the defense with FOU on the attack for Skyscraper. I still have a big question mark, or a big Riddler question mark over my head on how this thing is going to turn out.
And that's exactly how we like it. You know, I wouldn't have it any other way. If I knew what the results were going to be, the excitement value would drop drastically. FOU have really been surprising us, taking that win on Hideout, and definitely want to come out swinging as we're already 30 seconds into this pistol round. We see Exodin and Shidu. Oh, we do have a sub. Choo Choo. Did just notice that as well. Typical. Starting things off with the kill onto Exodin there on the bottom floor. It is going to be a top floor bomb site, so perhaps trying to clear out the roamer there, but it's VRF to come out on top. And I do think this confirms our theory that they chose side first, because I do still think they prefer, like, both teams would have preferred to start on defense here. Maybe I'm wrong. But Choo Choo in a tough spot, stuck in between Tipic. He's going to frag his way out of it as he finds the kill onto Tipic. Nade comes through, and he, almost finds enough damage to take Choo Choo down, but he is still alive to fall back and reunite with his team. And he has a syringe in hand as well. So 4v4, off to a decent start.
Yeah, definitely. They go back to the roof to seemingly reevaluate. Lolo and Noctilus just hanging out up here with Typical Light just outside the window, waiting for the swing in with just a slice of health. They need to get the health syringe over to Typical Light, but there isn't one available on the defensive end of things. They've used them all up, and there is one available for Lolo, so I wonder if maybe that's what they're waiting for on the roof, but that's going to mean that Choo Choo has to rotate back over towards Lolo, so that's not happening. And in the meantime, Nemo's finding Typic Light, which opens up this entry point very nicely for Lolo and Noctilus. They'll smoke their way through. FOU coming in focus. A lot of utility use coming in with the breaching foam to the smoke grenades, and Noctilus is here. They find one kill, but are surprised by God Jambo, who springs a trap. EMP goes down. Lolo's trying to hatch their way out, and what a retreat. They drop off through the hatch as Player Pixel kills one. God Jambo finds Choo Choo on the rotation, and it's a 1v2 with Lolo down the hatch, able to watch the defuse from below.
Yeah, and Player Pixel seems aware that is the situation as God Jambo rotating around the other side. It was amazing with the positions of Player Pixel and Jambo that EMP was even able to get fully planted. Very bold plant from them as a fire grenade comes through, but Lolo can see the legs. Defuse comes in. Oh, perhaps waiting to peek. Does he have the angle? He's got just barely a pixel peek on the hand, and God Jambo's going to drop in and get the kill, but now he's got to run all the way back upstairs and get the defuse. Does he have the time? Be a race versus the clock. The only enemy left on the server that can stop Jambo. I think he's going to have it with plenty of time to spare.
No, he's not.
Oh, I couldn't hear the beeping.
Yeah, definitely not enough time. A risky play that damages FOU on the economy side, so they're not going to be able to really buy. Oh, they will. They do have just enough to get rifles for everybody. But that, to your point, is going to be it. There's not going to be utilities or full attachments unless they do a little bit of sharing, a little bit of ecoing across the board with the other players.
I think you're going to see them take a more standard second round buy where they buy a couple. Looks like they're going with 3 Vezins. 3 Vezins is pretty risky, but I think we saw them do something similar before. It's a confident buy, no less, but it gives you a little bit of slack. You can have 2 people die. The tricky thing is going to be not giving any of those Vezins up to the opponents, because that's where we've seen these second round buys fall apart for some teams, right? One of the persons dies, the other team picks up one of the rifles, and now it becomes very dangerous, right? But yeah, I think you got to figure they had the EMP plant as well as winning the round, so that's going to give them a nice little economic boost going into the second round. And that's exactly how they want to start things off, especially attacking on Skyscraper, which is notoriously defender-sided. A really good start. FOU's got to be very happy with that one. At least for NA.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know. The EU meta may be different. Maybe in the EU, Skyscraper is attacker-sided. Who knows?
We'll have to see. A reminder to those tuning in, this is the final map of our first set. We'll then have another game immediately after this. And then NA starts at 2 p.m. PST with a little bit of a pre-show beforehand around 1:30. So do tune in then. It's at this rate, it could just be back-to-back-to-back Breachers matchups with how long this first set has taken. It has been such a long back and forth. We've had so many saves, Phil. These players really not necessarily taking their time, but just taking it down to the wire.
Yeah, not wanting to give either team any slack to work with, you know. Oh, nice little trip mine damage onto Choo Choo there. Definitely no slack given on either side. If they think the saving is going to be the right move, they will back up. It doesn't matter how much time is left on the clock. They are playing to win. Both teams showed up to win here today. And that they better. They have to. It's single elimination, right?
Yeah.
Backs against the wall. This map will decide which one of these teams will advance towards the later parts of this championship series. And so far in this round, at least, it's FOU who have taken the numbers advantage. I see one of the... There we go. They do recover that rifle in hand. That was the risky part, right? One of those rifle users did manage to fall in Choo Choo, but not able to recover the rifle. They got some foam on the wall. It looks like it's going to be a crunch onto the B bomb site. You've got Nemo with the EMP outside the window as well. Perhaps we're going to see, once the crunch comes in, him do a little reach in and plant through the window or outside. I don't know, but the Pixel brothers here to defend on B. They're going to have to get through them before any sort of plant becomes viable. Look at the patience here. 47 seconds left on the clock. They've had the foam on the wall for a while. They want to simultaneously breach. The time is now. It's go time. Pressing in. Lolo pushes his way through, but he doesn't see Player Pixel hiding, but Player Pixel just not turning. And Lolo's made his way all the way into the booth. And yeah, perhaps a little bit too late. Player Pixel turns around after finding a couple of kills. But Lolo and Exoden managed to seal that one out. That's round 2. Pretty clean going out to FOU.
Yeah, they only lose one rifle in that play. They hold on to the 2 that they did buy, and ultimately sets them up very nicely on the economy side for the foreseeable future. We'll have to see what VRF do, as it does seem like they're committing to the full buy with Pixel ecoing and buying attachments for everyone else's rifles, because you can see the rifle buys are putting them down to 0 cash in the pocket for 3 out of the 5 players on the VRF side.
I like this adaptation from them. I think it's smart. The other benefit of this is Pixel having that extra 2,000 credits he can buy all the attachments, but he can also drop a bunch of utility down for his teammates so they can get some door blockers, proximity sensors, some of those more expensive utilities that if you full buy into this round with 5 rifles, a lot of the times we see the defenders or whoever lost the pistol unable to fully buy into those expensive utility pieces, syringes particularly. But it is a pretty solid buy, so we're going to see the all-important full buy round from both teams here on round 3 as FOU looking to keep the streak going. 2-0. Pretty good start for them here on Skyscraper. And VRF looking to stop the bleeding, as we say.
Interesting bottom floor entry from Noctils and Lolo. They will make sure that there isn't any potential aggressor down on this bottom floor as the drone, like you said, clears out the second floor. And they prep their full entry from multiple angles. The Namo here going to be battling typical light, trying to push them back. I'm surprised they don't have someone coming up from the bottom floor, too. That would really be the full collapse in. Instead, it is a lot of players stacked up now over towards the B site, where you do have some defense ready and waiting. God, Jambo, and typical light is over on the other side of the map at this stage as they slowly rotate in. A nice headshot pops through the wall, no less.
Typical Light has a timing here. Yeah, he's going to find the kill on the Nemo in the back. Really beautiful for him. They had a nice crunch up the stairs, but the bullets, the frags are flying back and forth. Once again, this back and forth action is crazy. They don't quite have control of the B bomb site, but they could perhaps get a cheeky plan here. Is it's just Lolo and Exodus in a 2 versus 3. Yeah, Typical Light was over on that hallway. They had the crunch. They got the kill onto God Jamba, and they didn't realize that Typical Light was also there, and he just instantly started walk pushing as he is going to also progress from the behind. It's pressure from both sides. Player Pixel coming down the hallway. Typical Light around the corner, and just Exodus now with members crunching from 3 different sides. It's going to be too much for anyone to handle there. And EMP was planted, though, so that's a little bit of money in the pockets of FOU. And with the economy the way it is, I think we're still going to see another fullback coming out to round 4.
VRF are going to be hurting. They got 2 rifles that they're saving on to that do have full attachments. Pixel will be able to buy a rifle themselves. They're only going to get, I guess they could get 5, but it still puts them almost down to no cash, Phil. So they're not in a safe space just yet. FOU, on the other hand, don't also have enough to buy in. So, what is the economic choice, especially on VRF's side? Do you take all of this stuff into calculation and assume that FOU isn't going to come at you too strong this round? You don't necessarily have to go the full rifle buys for everybody. It does look like they're going to commit to at least 4 Vezins, but you do see the option of Typic there saving. Typical Light holding on to their cash as well. So they still have some safety measures in the event that things do go awry on round number 4 here. Map 3 coming in so close already, Phil. It is a excellent EU start to the weekend. I'm happy that we have tuned in to this series so far, and I'm already looking forward to more. I'm looking forward to NA at 2 p.m. PST and a bunch more games tomorrow as well.
Yeah, this whole match has been heating up the whole time, right from the very beginning. And now, especially here on Skyscraper, VRF have managed to stop the bleeding and put the first round on the board, and pushed FOU immediately back onto a save round as well. So very likely to see them go up and tie their map 2-2 as Pixel finds the opening kill onto Lolo through the bathroom window there. It was interesting. FOU were thinking about Hero buying 1 rifle in the hands of, I think it was Exodus, and he was still going to be able to buy. They were going to get full Vezis next round, but they decided against it, perhaps wisely, save some of that money, be able to get a stronger buy with more utility to back it up next round. I like this. But let's see what they have for an attacking idea. Maybe get a little something going. Any damage that they can do here. You see the money is pretty low on VRF side, so every kill that they can get is pretty big to keep VRF from stacking that money up. As Typical Light finding a nice kill down the hallway. The Jespers with suppressors kind of forcing him back into that hallway now. Choo-Choo working up the stairs, but Typic is here at the top of the stairs. So now these Exodus and Choo-Choo are stuck between a rock and a hard place, with Revolters on all 3 sides of them now. Typic pushing his way down the stairs. There's the first one, and he's going to find the second. Typic in standard Typic faction, picking up a nice little 2-piece there. Now it's just all down to Noctilus in a 1 versus 5 with a Jesper in hand. It's tall to ask for anyone.
Yeah. And we've seen the saves before where they've held off on dumping that final kill into the pockets of VRF. Every dollar matters, and so it's impressive to see FOU have the patience ultimately at the end of the day and not overcommit. But it's also what you'd expect, especially at this level, Phil. I mean, we are here in the championship stages of the preseason. These players playing for the bragging rights of being crowned the #1 team in VRML preseason. Also, kind of sets them up nicely for any recruiting efforts they want to make for Season 1. There's all kinds of options that open up when you are that #1 team leading into Season 1. So there's value to performing well here this afternoon, and FOU are really I'm seeing in chat, FOU has been slept on. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the EU has, just because myself and Phil haven't been able to dedicate too much time to casting. We do have great EU casters like Jonesy, who will be joining us tomorrow for the EU bracket side of things, which we're looking forward to. We'll also be seeing them a little bit on the NA side of things, where we have a bunch of different casters jumping in to cast the action. But, they're performing well here today, and with a little bit of a save, we do finally go into round 5. A quick gander at the scoreboard. And you'll see that Tipic isn't actually leading in kills on their team. The first time they haven't been. Player Pixel with the KD lead there, 5-3.
Yeah, Tipic been struggling a little bit at the start of this map. Just still in that all dangerous roam position a couple rounds and just getting kind of shut down at the beginning. But now the momentum is in their favor. They're getting a little bit of control of the momentum. They put a couple rounds on the board, and we're gonna see a full buy round from both teams. Are going to be able to fully invest, not just into fully kitted rifles, but all the utility that they could want. And definitely still plenty of time for Tipic to have a breakout performance here, get back onto the top of the scoreboard. But also, not to take away any focus, both of the Pixel brothers, all members on this roster seem to be able to put up some pretty solid numbers here. Perhaps just giving a little bit of the spotlight to some of his teammates as we get started into the 5th round. Sets the tone for the rest of this first half.
The static emitter that was placed here, you may think it's odd, but it's shutting down a easy line to go through the back of B, and it's tucked into this little corner. It denies more of the emitter from pushing out because it's tucked up against B, but it makes it very hard to initially find and shoot, and maybe even go undetected as you do try and push in. Suddenly you're stuck in mud, and it's an opportunity for someone like Pixel to then swing the corner. So an interesting static emitter placement. May have been unintentional, and I'm looking too much into it, but either way, I do think it could end up paying some dividends as the push is coming in B side.
Yeah, B side, we've got Nemo and Noctis on the top floor, breaching through the hatch. But player Pixel finds a headshot on a choo-choo through the smoke, and the drop comes in onto the double trip, and immediately Noctis and Nemo just get taken right out of the round. It's all down to accident. 1 versus 3. He is going to be foaming up that wall, pushing his way in, but just unable to get any control. There was FOU. That was a beautiful defensive setup. I gotta say, I didn't see those trips at all. I don't know where they were at, but as soon as they dropped down that hatch, both of those players immediately got removed from the server. Great defensive setup. And now going into the last round, FOU are going to have to scrape together what they have, buy everything they can. There's no more saving here.
They can get a decent loadout. It's not it's a forced buy, but there's 3 Vezins and an RCP into their hands. They could technically buy Lolo and RCP also, which is maybe one or the
other. I think we'll see him buy some sort of
just attachments.
It looks like he's gonna util dump. He's gonna drop all the util that they could want, and perhaps Lolo will use. Yeah, he's got a spectral in hand. He's gonna try and pick up one of the Vezins of his fallen comrades or a fallen enemy, more preferred. As FOU looking to tie up this map 3-3 going into the second half, but they will be going on to the defensive side. So really anyone's game. It's all going to come down to the pistol of the first half. I think that's going to be a huge round to really push the momentum into one team or the other's favor. Even if they lose this round and go down 2-4, you win the pistol, all of a sudden you're looking at a real good chance of tying it up 4-4 in the second half. The momentum. So, but don't count this round out. Every round counts. They obviously would prefer to tie it up 3-3. A nice paced start. See all 5 members. This looks like a courtyard play. We've got everyone here towards the center of this skyscraper map, and looking to patiently poke their way in. Get a couple of entry picks. Not rushing things. You can tell the pressure has mounted. It all comes down to this decider map. Neither team wanting to give up an inch. Nobody wants to make any mistakes here. Take any slight oversteps and give any sort of advantage to anyone. It's a beautiful game of breachers we've got as they do manage to breach into that bottom floor, following up on the drone. just really patiently working their way in. They've got a little bit of map control to work with now as Choo Choo and Exodin slowly work their way up this staircase. And Nemo on the top floor working his way down the same staircase. So it looks like it is going to be a little bit of pressure towards this main hallway outside of it. The bomb site. Player Pixel seems to be aware as he jiggle peeks, gets a little blind pre-fire out towards Nemo's direction. Smoke grenade. Interesting smoke grenade placement to give them a little bit of peace of mind as Tipic is working his way up in towards that smoke grenade. They seem to be aware of the play. Typical Life finding a kill through the smoke and getting traded by Noctilus. And Choo Choo does take out Tipic with that pressure from that catwalk, so that's a beautiful start for FU. They got a man advantage here, especially if Exigin can pick up one of these rifles. They can go fully Vezined out in a 4v3 man advantage. But VRF still here to defend.
B site is the play here. 4 strong technically with Noctilus opening up the B doorway, and now the push coming in. Exodin, Choo Choo firing shots. A nice nade from Noctilus goes through to catch a kill. Everyone holding down here as Pixel shuts down entries through the door. A nice double kill. Completely puts the Namo on the back foot, and there's the push out from Pixel. They finish off the final defender. An aggressive attempt from FOU that gets completely denied. A static emitter, I think, was there to welcome them on that breached doorway, and that threw a big wrench in their plans. Their timing getting disrupted, and VRF up 4-2, looking to maintain that undefeated status, Phil. They just need to get 3 more rounds in the pocket, the 2 pistol rounds in the full buy.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, the Pixel brothers from VRF coming in clutch there. Man advantage aside, the Pixel brothers was all that were needed apparently there, and that nice little hold onto that B bomb site started things off with a nade and just nice little double piece. Beautiful coordination from them. I wonder if they're actually they're probably not. Pixel brothers has a nice ring to it though. But like we said though, the pistol is going to be all that important. Even though they're down 4-2, if FOU can pick up the pistol, really good chance of them tying it up 4-4 and having momentum on their side going into that all-important tie-breaking 9th round. But it's gotta start with the pistol. So let's see what VRF can bring to the table on the attacking side here for the second half.
Nice open up on the bottom floor. That'll get them comfortably in control of lobby side, and that'll start their rotation towards A with Jambo here trying to find a little bit of a fight early. Lolo catching some kills. Good Jambo pushing in towards A site and actually tucking in, waiting for any bit of aggression more. Meanwhile, on the second floor, it's a battle as Lolo is harassing Choo Choo just around the corner. There's all kinds of roaming threats from FOU.
Yeah, Skyscraper, a very, very strong map for roaming, just this being the way that it's set up. And we see, FOU taking full advantage, having 2 roams going on. But the problem with double roaming is it weakens your sight hold a little bit. And just like that, VRF have got the EMP planted and a post-plant setup here on the A bomb site. And the frags coming through. It's all down to Noctilus now in a 1v3 as he finds the first one. But Tipic with that Taurus is going to shut things down. And that's VRF going up 5-2. Solid attacking round from them.
That almost was bad. Bad news for VRF. FOU had a play in mind. They wanted to rotate in and like we've been seeing from them, retake. They wanted to allow that plant. They leave the site open, take that preferential tactic of roaming, and then once and if they push into the site and you find no roaming kills, you then circle back and collapse on the offense. It's honestly a defensive method I haven't seen yet on the NA side of things. I have not seen the prioritization in the retake on defense, at least not very often. It's maybe something that a team will do once or twice a series, but it feels like that's FOU's style here when they defend.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, right? I think it has some advantages. Once you've got the EMP planted, there's really no shifts allowed, right? The attackers, the EMP is stuck on the wall. They can't then change their plan and switch it up to a different bomb site. So you surround them at that point, and it's an interesting idea. And they've been obviously finding some success getting this far into the championships of the preseason. But pressure is mounting because you know, VRF have the Omen buy in hand. They got a couple of SMGs, and if they win this round, which player Pixel opening things up for them with the first kill, they're on map point here for the decider. And actually, them getting to 6 points is a win for them, because even if they have to win this round, because even if VRF draw, they're gonna win off of rounds by default. So I think FOU are aware of this. You can see Noctilus bought into the Omen here. They invested a little bit heavier. They're definitely not playing for the tie. But once again, map control of B going over the way of VRF. But the crunch comes in a little bit quicker this time. You're right, the retake is so strong. As soon as that EMP went down, that was the go time. And FOU have just like that taken complete control of this round. It's all down to Typic in a 1 versus 3 with the Taurus in hand. Noctilus quickly shuts him down. And just like that, FOU right back in this one.
The big round, as we say, goes into the pockets of FOU. A must-win right there. Otherwise, that was set and series point for VRF going into the full buy. Now there's a little bit more room to work with, a little bit more cushion for loss. They can afford to drop this one. Granted, I guess if you lose this round too, I mean, it's just all in from here on out for FOU, Phil. There's no saving or not risk taking. They have to full buy here. If they lose here, they're likely in pretty bad water for the next one after this, especially because they're not going to get a $2,000 investment. They're going to get $1,500 because they just won this round. You got to win. That's the only real way out of this for for FOU right now.
Yeah, you got to win all, 4 rounds in a row. The 4 remaining rounds of this map, they have to win all of them. Because like we said with the map decider, the VRF won the second map 7-2. So even if they tie this map, they're going to lose the series on round wins. So they're already backs against the wall. It's already series point for VRF. They might as well already have 6 rounds on the board, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah.
In terms of winning, you know, they can still lose. They're not guaranteed the tie. It's going to come down to whether they can put that last round on the board. So FOU so far living to fight another day. I think they're aware. Based on the bye, I think they're aware that the series point for VRF, because they are fighting like their lives are on the line. As we see a little bit faster paced entryway in, as Typical Light has already worked his way in. They've got the Typic brothers here with full control of this hallway. And it's going to crunch towards the A bomb site. You've got the EMP and Jambo and Pixel outside the window. They're ready to really crunch onto this A bomb site. And it's just Choo Choo and Nemo here to defend. They've got a trip mine in place. The nade comes through. What a beautiful nade and incendiary nade combo. Drops Typic, and that's a very strong frag lead there for VRF. So that's a very important kill as they slowly work their way back in and take control. Amo's gonna find another one. The wall gets foamed, but the window behind Pixel finally managing to drop Nemo. Oh, and 3 kills come out for VRF, huge. And just like that, things are falling apart. Exodin and Choo Choo left. It's just Choo Choo. 1 versus 2. He's going to rotate back around. Got Jambo, though, vaulting in the window and just catches him over on the B bomb site. And that is, so like we said, the series locked up for VRF and the map point 6-3.
I was wondering about that play. I felt like that wasn't going to work very well for VRF because they had that double investment out the window that wasn't doing anything. They weren't pushing in to site. The reason being is because they were anticipating the roam from FOU so that they could cover this long hallway and watch the retake. This is adaption in real time from VRF to adjust to what just happened in those last 2 rounds, and it works. They're now, like you said, at series point, staring down the barrel of advancing on to next weekend into the semis, and FOU on the cusp of having their season done with, and they have to buy into a couple of omens. It is not the ideal situation for them, Phil. This is maybe worst-case scenario coming through here. 10 seconds to take down to what could be the final round of this set.
Backs against the wall. not where you want to be. If you're an FOU fan, you are not very comfortable in your chair right now, so to speak. But you win some, you learn some, as I always say. And FOU, you know, even if this could be the last round or last couple of rounds of their preseason, have put on a great show for us so far here in even the championship series. As God Jambo opening things up with the kill onto Noctilus. They do have control of this server side room now as 2 more members from VRF are going to drop out of that vent. And it looks like we're going to see a hard press onto the B bomb site. Ooh, team kill there from player Pixel. Actually killing himself with the friendly fire. Exodin with a nice double piece with the Omen, but quickly shut down with the crunch from Tipic down the hallway from the stairs. It's all down to Lolo in a 1v2. Not completely undoable here.
They have a... It's very doable. Vezin in hand, full HP, utility in hand. They're getting wall-banged a little bit, so they need to tuck in, and there's plenty of positions to be pushed from, unfortunately. They can get hit through that wall. The EMP plant could come down through the wall. They have to check out, and as they do, Tipic's there. They get chunked up, but on the short corner, they have Tipic popping off and finding the final kill. It puts VRF in the winning position for our first game of the EU single elimination group stage. They will advance on to semifinals next weekend. We still have more games to determine who else will advance on to those semifinals next weekend. There is plenty of games left ahead of us, including the one that's coming up. But before we get there, Phil, what a starting series that we get to tune into.
Oh, man, you really couldn't have started off with any more excitement than that. Back and forth the whole way. FOU fighting tooth and nail to the very end and just not quite able to clutch it out. Very solid performance from both teams. Shout outs to FOU, the runner-ups. Yep. They are in this single elimination. That's it. The stakes are that high. They're just done. You lose one series and that's it. Your championship run is over. And VRF going to be very happy with that performance, advancing on, like you said, to the next stage for next weekend. And yeah, just like that, it was a banger, back and forth. I loved some great breakout plays. We saw so many highlights. If you got your clip tools out, plenty of clips for the TikTok, for the gram.
Yep,
that was a great one. Great way to start things off.
Absolutely. We got one more matchup this afternoon for the EU side of things. It is Niffen Esports versus Revolt. That's coming up next. We are going to cut to a brief break and let our voices rest while we prepare for what is another long day of Breachers. Again, NA is after this next game at 2 p.m. PST, and then OA later tonight at 5:30 p.m. PST. Again, a lot to look forward to on the Breacher side of things, so don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, like the stream, get the notifications. Tell everyone to tune in. We need more people here. Help this space grow. We appreciate your support. We're going to break. welcome back, everybody. We are here for our second match of the afternoon. Revolt RVL versus Niffen. I'm joined by my co-casters Filibust and Jonesy Boy in our championship single elimination Group A. And Jonesy, I want to start with you. How are you feeling about our first matchup of the afternoon? Second
Honestly,
matchup, sorry. Jeez.
Yeah. this match, both teams I've seen play, both teams can play well, they can hold things well, and they can just, as the game is, shoot each other quicker.
Yeah, it is going to be RVL as you look at the stats, the ranked, what is it, 6th team versus Niffen, the seed 11th. You look at the stats, Phil, and do we trust the stats in what we're seeing here?
I think you got to give them a little bit of weight. Being that, especially the last matchup they had was very strongly favored towards Revolt. I think a lot of people are going to be favoring Revolt, but like we've been talking about, it's the championships, right? It's the people are bringing their complete A game. The momentum shifts are a lot heavier. The pressure is a lot higher. Perhaps we'll see some more people sweating, a little bit shakier aim because they know that the cameras are on, and you never know which way it could go. So I'm hopefully we get another exciting match like we did the first one.
I mean, Jonesy, we talked about it a bit in the off stream here. This is really RVL's game to win, right? It is the stats wise. This team coming in stronger and at the end of the day, maybe even a little bit more focused, but. Maybe not. Maybe Niffen will kind of be stepping things up here because the postseason does wild things to players and teams,
Yeah, so obviously if you look at the stats, then Niffen are below, but the stats are never always true. You see some teams, like we saw French on You literally around an hour ago, stomp out VRF on that first map 7-4. Yep. So we just see that. We see it's not stats, it's the skill that you get during the day.
It's also not. 7 weeks is, it's a decent amount of gameplay, but it's no 13 to 15 week season. You know what I mean? It's not like those. That's when we get to season 1 finals. Already starting to think about it. That's when we really get to start digging into the stats, Phil. That's when things really get to the nitty gritty. But we're here. Game number 2, RVL versus Niffen, and we're diving into round 1.
Kicking things off quickly here, but a little bit of a pace start. So back to hideout again for the first map.
Yep.
Revolt starting on the defense, and we got Niffen attacking. And it looks like they are actually looking to take bedroom control here. And it looks you got Como in this window here peeking. Looks like they want some back hall control. I think we're going to see a B crunch from Niffen here is the idea. And Revolt is set up well to defend this. You've got SK Skymo. Help me out here. How do you say that?
Skyburn. Skyburn? What are you looking at?
Skymos?
Skimos. Oh, yeah, on RVL.
Oh, Skimos, like Eskimos without the S. Gotcha. So we got Skimos in the back hall. Hazel tucked in behind the globe. And yes, they do have bedroom control. And they're going to foam up this wall into B. And the first round is a nice, slow, methodical pace, but I think the speed is going to ramp up any second as the attack comes into this B bomb site. The pressure is mounting. My heart is starting to pick up in speed. I feel the fight coming.
Yeah, but they're patiently waiting, as is RVL. No traps being sprung yet. Skimo's not pushing out. Hazel tucked in. A very patient defense coming in here on the side of RVL, and it pays off with a kill out the gate. Zav finds the first one, and almost over the top there. Hickman trying to connect with that Taurus over the top through B side is now Upless here. Skyburn pushing in, almost had the EMP down.
That was wild to see because they were the ones that lost a man. The pick went to the defender side, and off of the back of that pick, Skyburn just pushed into he was like, all right, that's my cue to go. One of us died. Now I can be aggressive. It almost paid off. They got the EMP on the wall, but a very clean start to this first map by Revolt here. All 5 members still standing strong, and it's all down to Asoria, who is... Where is Asoria, actually? He is...
I just realized I had the teams on the wrong side there. Swap it for you.
Where is Asoria? He's on the roof.
On
yeah,
the top.
So once again, we're seeing another pistol save round on the... I think this is the new meta. Maybe it's been the meta. Maybe I'm behind here. I've been on a little bit of a vacation here.
We got a resident expert we can tap into. Jonesy, saving seems to be a big strategy for these teams at the top end. Is it something that you almost see in all of the squads that play in the top 8 of the EU?
More like the top 20. If you have a 1v5 and it's either pistol round, which is very useful, or round number 3, then you see a lot of saving. So if it's a 1v3, you usually see someone sit on the roof here, factory roof, skyscraper roof. It's somewhere that you can't get killed and you keep your credits so you can get a Vez in quicker.
It's a tactical choice, and your thoughts on Revolt's round 1? Pretty much par for the course, right? 5 alive to the 1 of Niffen.
Yeah, so Asoya is usually, from what I've seen, the roamer of the team. They usually sit a bit back, and then they are the one who sits behind the team, and then they push in. So what we do is we wait for that to go through, and then, obviously, with him being at the back, his team goes down, he can retreat, maybe pick up a gun on the way out.
A little bit of a safety play then, a safety measure, not only defending from the flank, but also economically potentially getting you an advantage.
Yep, that is exactly the plan. We see it a lot in the EU side, so I don't know if you see that on the NA side much.
I don't know, Phil. I mean, I guess not. I feel like we see more full teams committing into the pushes than anything.
Yeah, the more that I would call it the death ball strategy. I mean, you've got some teams that, some teams like to spread out and do the more map control, but there is that more like once it's go time, all 5 or everybody that's left alive kind of pushes everything they've got. Throw everything in the kitchen sink, we say, into taking the bomb site. Oh, nice nade from Hickman there to start things off here in the second round.
Huge. That does
not just the kill, but the damage.
Yeah, there's 1 tap away on the Skyburn. It's the pistol round, no less. So that damage is even more valuable because you're not going to get 1 tap unless the Taurus is in play. But just to be able to have a chest shot available for Hickman to do enough damage there on the Skyburn. They do have a health syringe available, so Fly could help Skyburn get healed up here, but in the chaos, it's not happening, and Skyburn is sitting ready to enter into B as they open it up.
Yeah, EMP in hand as well, so he is like the MVP right now. He's going to go for the plan, and that health is just immediately going to get shredded. Zab the slab of the Cyclone. And now it's a 3 versus 5. Looks like that syringe was eventually used by somebody, at least. So there was probably on cooldown. Zab picking up his 2nd of the round. Now it's just down to Asoria and Como here with it all to do and just not an inch of map control. You got 4 members of Revolt here into this site with the control of the EMP. Not a lot. And a safe investment from them, too. You didn't see them buy into any rifles. Yeah, Zavislav picking up his 3rd of the round, looking for the 4K as Como. Yeah, and there it is, the 4K for Zav. Beautiful round from him. Gonna shut down Como on the outside of that window. Jonesy, I want to ask you, do you see a lot of variance? I see a few different strategies, and it looks like it's the same story. Different teams on the EU side have different buy strategies going into that 2nd round after winning pistol.
Yeah, so RVL usually, with their main roster, they usually have 2 people on a Taurus. Cyclones and Spectrals. And you see Niffen, they just go usually for Spectrals, or they get an SMG if they feel like they're going to fail. But it's every single team has their own strategies that they use with guns or even just playing the game. They have their own strategies.
Yeah,
that is pretty wild.
It's fun, again, for us to be able to jump over and see the EU side of things, to be able to watch the differences. And what's really going to be nice is we're going to be able to directly contrast these, Phil, to the top teams in NA in just a couple hours from now. At 2 p.m. PST, we have the NA side of things starting with their Group A. 2 matches to look forward to there. But so far, it's what we expected. RVL performing to the statistics, right, Jonesy?
Yeah, so RVL obviously performing to that, top of the board almost win rate that they've got. So we're going to see them obviously have a little bit of an advantage against Niffen, who are 11th on the board.
Nice, decent defensive setup around A there with the door blocker, wall. No, actually, no trip mines coming in here. And Mr. Tabs does peek out, gets a little aggressive. RCPs in hand for everyone. And as they sit in the door blocker, Como catches the kill with their Oh, I'm blanking. Why did I just blank on the Omen? Wow. Whew. We haven't. I feel like I don't see him so often, but we've seen so many Omens so far just today.
They're struggling to pick up the two members of Revolt. They're trying to pick up that Vezin. As we have a very unorthodox buy from Niffen in here. There's an Omen, 3 RCPs, and a Cadillo. Zavdislav gonna finally get the first pick for Revolt on the board. Como is also gonna drop. The EMP is down in the site now, and look at this. You got a really nice crossfire here from Hickman and Zavdislav. Nice nade coming through. That's gonna force Skyburn out of the site as Flytox pushes his way forward, but nice little peek over the headbox. Zavdislav and Hickman just holding down the fort here. And once again, it all falls on the shoulders of Visoria. Well, like you said, Jonesy, he's on that backside position, and once everything goes awry, he just kind of falls back. Hopefully he picks up a gun. This time he's going to have Cadillo in hand to save.
Yeah, I love that pronunciation on the Cadillo, or as some people call it, the coconut. But yeah, we see that. We see him just back off again. And it's something that you see quite a lot on the EU side compared to what you say on the NA side, running in and everyone dying.
Also potentially getting a kill, okay? That's the point. You fling your body into the group, hoping that you connect with a headshot. It's a much more risky strategy, obviously, than what we have seen with these saves. And this is what I would expect at this stage. Single elimination, no room for real error. You have to take all of the money you can get, any bit of help you can get. You need it here, especially for Niffen, who have the statistics against them as well, the past match history against them. There's a lot that they have to push for. They need every advantage that they can get their hands on, and just a little bit of a save is that small advantage. But yeah, RVL, I mean, they're not making it easy. Revolt are playing good here on their defense.
Yeah, so his positioning here is actually quite interesting, because if Revolt had a grenade, they could throw it up, and they could get like a lucky grenade through Skylight or through the hatch. So his positioning is he's constantly moving so that he can't be hit by any grenades.
That hatch was actually just pinged as he said that too.
So I'm also curious, because we saw that unorthodox buy with the 3 RCPs and an Omen coming out from Niffen. I think a lot of the top NA teams would have just chose to even save if that was all they could do, save and get a full buy with the Vezins. You see a lot of those unorthodox buys in EU, or is this a Niffen specific trait we're running into?
So there's like a little region. So you have your top teams, you have just below top teams, your mid tier, your low tier. In between the crossover between the just below top and the top, there's a little gap where if you feel like you're going to struggle against a team, rather than having to go against pistols with a pistol when you know you're going to lose that fight, you can buy an RCP, because that thing is just a laser at long range, and there's not much you can do from defending that shot.
Interesting.
It's interesting. We're seeing Niffen do. They're kind of caught into this trend that we haven't seen at the top in NA for a while, where they're just full buying every round, which, you know, it has some merit. You got to consider they get a better chance of winning each round, but they're never getting that full buy. They only got one full Vezin on the table, and the rest is Cadillos and SMGs.
That is what happens when you fall into the trap of losing round after round, sadly.
Yep, we'll have to see what happens here as we do get into a B site push. No garage defense at all, but heavy investment on resources into the garage. Utility coming in from Niffen that ultimately hits no one, as everyone is tucked in and blind firing through walls, trying to catch a lucky headshot or two, and maybe not so lucky. I mean, honestly, these players know where to aim in these walls to potentially connect with a standard defensive or offensive position. There's a lot of knowledge that comes into this guesswork of the pre-fire that comes through, but it's not connecting so far, and this is a very tucked in RVL defense. They really are going to force Niffen to come to them in round 4.
I couldn't agree more. The pre-fire there from Zavdislav, not just into the standard garage lane that we see. He was sniping exactly at the headshot glitch spot. Somebody who was standing on that desk who got their head peeled right off. But we got all 5 members of NIF now piling in between laundry and garage. It looks like they are going to once again try to take this B bomb site. And once again, we've got 4 members of Revolt here to defend. So the push comes in. Skyburn once again charging in with the EMP in hand. They're going to find the pick on a Zav, but it's Hickman coming with a double and the nade to follow it up. A nice little 3-piece from Hickman leaves Upless in a 1 versus 4 situation. With the Omen in hand, it looks like he is going to rotate around, but the proximity sensor gives away his position. And he's going to back out, go upstairs, perhaps jump out a window. There's a minute left on the clock, but that's a lot to ask for anyone.
That was a really interesting play attempt there from Niffen. They tried to push into B site without breaching the walls specifically. They did not detonate those walls, giving away that they were entering in or that anything was going to be happening on that site. They almost tried to sneak their way through on the backside, and it almost worked. They were nearly into the back of that defense before they knew it. And fortunately, RVL is playing well this afternoon, and they find those kills they need, and now it's making it very hard for Uplex to get anywhere safe. There is just no safety spot, and even outside, they get picked off as Mr. Tabs catches the kill, grabs a little bit of utility, and RVL barrel towards a 6-0 start on map 1. This is in, I mean, what are the Niffen has to essentially eco here or just keep buying SMGs for the foreseeable few rounds, Jonesy?
Yeah, so what we're going to see is something that we see in EU a lot in pubs and scrims and comp matches alike. If you start falling into this loop of having no money, you're going to have to spend to get more, to have a chance of getting more money. It's gambling pretty much now for this team. That is exactly what it is. You're going to either lose money by buying your RCP, you'll get that money back the next round if you get a kill, or you're just going to lose it all and just keep dropping down and down and down.
Not an easy place to be if you are Niffen right now, and it's right where you want them to be if you're Revolt. They are, if anything, trying to push for a quick 2-0 set like we saw in the regular season when they played them last. Again, you look at that match history, if we do look at the stats, 21-2 in favor of Revolt. So even if Niffen get points on the board, that'll be a positive at this stage.
Ooh.
Another nice frag grenade to open things off. Mr. Tabs this time finding the opening kill onto Flytox. Just a hard read. We see this a lot. This just a little nade pit position outside the B wall here, and yeah, that's a rough start for Niff. The SMG's in hand and the man disadvantage now as Tabs wants to get aggressive, immediately punished, and that could be a rifle over into the hands of Niff. So that could be a huge pick, but Skimo's here to defend. Looks like they aren't quite going to take control of that storage room as Asoria and Como have worked their way upstairs, blowing the hatch, throwing some fire grenades down. It's going to be they're trying to set up the crunch onto the B bomb site. Another nice nade from Hickman, and he peeks around the other side. Nice little 2-piece from him. 8-0 so far. Hickman coming out with a really strong performance. And just Asoria and Como left. A 2 versus 4.
They're on the roof trying to do damage, and it does not work out for them. They get caught through the hatch, and now Asoria's alone in their effort to try and push in. They're going to save, wisely so, with a rifle in hand. It's their only chance at potentially grabbing the next round. But this is a all too common trend, unfortunately, for the Niffen squad, where they are stuck into saving with Asoria. 4 are left alive on Revolt, and you know, ultimately, there's no ground gained, and Revolt continue to remain in full control of this set. Round 5 certainly going to be theirs. Round 6 also looking good, because what are Niffen's options? 1 rifle that Asoria can save. Como will have enough for a rifle themselves, but then because they've been buying into these SMGs, plus Skyburn and Fly do not have the option of buying into rifles, despite that winner's extra or the loser's money, that extra loser's money going into their pockets after consecutive losses. So, yeah, it's not a lot of good options for the Niffen team.
But what else can you do? I mean, there's just going into the last round. You got almost no chance of winning this. You might as well bring the rifle in, get at least 2 rifles on the board, get 2 rifles, 3 SMGs. Unfortunately, they're trying to give themselves the best opportunity to win every single round, but because they didn't give up one of the rounds to save their money for the next one. They haven't had the maximum potential to win any one round, and so far Revolt has been fulfilling that promise and kept every round for themselves, going up 5-0 now. It's a strong performance in the first half, and they're off to a really good start.
We're also obviously seeing Niffen maybe get their first taste of the top 10 in the EU side of things, Jonesy. I mean, this is, like you said, a bit of a unorthodox match. It's happened once before in the season, but like we've been saying, it went very well into the hands of RVL, and so they really do have, the odds against them here this afternoon. I was saying yesterday or earlier today that FOU, I felt like we're in sort of a similar position, ranked 2 versus ranked 7, but they put up a fantastic battle. Niffen here, I feel like, are just getting a bit of a wake-up call in these early in these first 6 rounds, in that there is no easy entry point. There's no easy push. There's no easy kills coming in for them onto RVL, and it's just, again, Revolt really showing that they have they're going to be one of the challengers in the semifinals.
Yeah, so obviously RVL, we see Hit getting most of the kills with his grenades and his headshots. But then if you look at Asoya, for example, we're on round 6 now, and Niffen have won none, but Asoya still only has 2 deaths because they are saving, 3 out of the 5 rounds that have been played.
Yeah, I wonder if we have... Our stats are a little out of order there. No, they're not. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no kills, but 2 deaths. Yeah, it's a lot of players could come online on RVL. That could ultimately, like you said, end up making them even stronger. Here comes the push. Como finds one through the initial breach. The rest of the team is here to fight. Skyburn catches one. The RCP battling as they push in through A around the smokes. Hickman and Zav shutting things down, as now it's up to Skmoes and Hickman, the final 2, in a flurry to hold things off. And look at this. It's Asoria alone as the last one to attack. No point in saving here. This is a round that they're going to have to clutch 1v2.
I really like the change of pace from Niffen coming out that round. Asoria this time being in the back line, he was on the drone. That whole round opened up with the back piece of him being outside, rocking the drone and pinging out those enemies, and they were able to find a few kills. But once again, a clutch nade from Hickman just drops this from a 2v2 down to a 1v2, and Asoria is going to have to do it all by himself. And based on the coordination we've seen so far, this is going to be a tough ask. I think Skmoes and Hickman are going to play close together, and they're just going to be ready to trade. And so Asoria is going to have to get a really quick double kill to clean this one up. Not an easy task. He does have EMP in hand and is rotating back through the garage. Let's see what he can put on the board.
Oh, doesn't get them all. The inhalation nade through and tries to rotate back towards A side. A little fake out towards B with utility. A is wide open, so it is an easy swing and push in. They also have the EMP, which they can plant, but it's going to give away their position right away. No one's here to hold A, though, so it's definitely could come through. They got the time. Hickman swings the corner quick, and a beautiful snap headshot from Asoria. They try and crouch back down to get the full plant as Skmoes pushes in onto the corner. Is Asoria going to be able to snap and find this? They do.
He does. What a clutch from Asoria. I thought it was real risky when he was sticking the plant both times there, but quickly able to snap up and find those headshots. What a beautiful play. What a great way to put your first round on the board for Niffen.
Jonesy, we go to the full swap here, and I don't know if that's going to be enough to inspire the Niffen team into a defensive hold. I mean, what does RVL's attack look like? I imagine it's going to be pretty coordinated.
They do it quite coordinated, but they do so like in NA. I don't know if you do this, but you have like 2 teams quite often. Like one team goes one way, one team goes the other, and then what you do is you pinch. RVL do that, or they just all rush. But obviously we see Niffen in that last round there of the half. They try and push. They push straight onto site. They got a hold, and then it was a 1v2, and then I saw you there at the end. He's like, you know what? It's a 1v2 final round. What could go wrong?
Yeah. Clutch or kick is the mentality there, and they clutch it up. So and they're not out of the woods just yet, and there's still a chance to win. The tie isn't the only option as this stage because they do get that one round, but it's going to be a matter of locking in the next 2 pistol sets that'll really help determine things for Niffen on defense. But let's see. Is RVL going to stick to the coordination we've seen so far? Tabs starts things off nicely. Asoria could be up next as they're tucked in on a bit of an off position here on this upper floor away from objective.
The timing is gone. Those Tabs has already worked his way downstairs. Perhaps not going to be ready for Asoria to flank him down the staircase so quickly, thinking that we've cleared out the roams. And you got to think, too, I think this is actually Niffen's first time being on stream. So perhaps a little bit of the nerves kicking in there. And as those nerves start to wear off, they start to find a little bit of a rhythm. Asoria finds the timing on the Tabs, and just like that, we're down to a 4 versus 4. Niffen trying to keep this momentum swinging in their favor. But 4 members of Revolt over towards the storage side. EMP in hand, the store blocker is getting broken. It's going to be a pinch towards the B bomb site. And I don't know if they're set up to defend this. It's going to be a bit of a scramble as the EMP is getting planted already.
Wow, they were not ready for a B push. They've opened up B, they've planted B, and they're defending B as Zav catches 1 kill over the top onto Asoria. A nice swing from the duo, Skyburn and U+, but they run into 2 more. Hazel and Hickman here to defend, and it's an all-out pistol brawl as the EMP continues to be defended nicely by the duo who really tucked in together, and there's another kill coming in. Revolt put up a solid pistol set and take away round number 7. 1 more to go. They've got map 1 into their hands, and we move on to our map 2 set map for RVL, and Niffen will definitely be on the back foot then if they aren't already. We're seeing a full buy for RVL going into round 8. Jonesy, your thoughts so far on how well we're seeing Revolt play again? It's sort of what we expected.
Yeah, so Revolt, obviously, with the stats, for once, like the last match, stats are coming in their favor. They are winning. Niffen, maybe it is the anxiety of the postseason. They have been casted before by community casters around. I know I've done some of them, and their playstyle is completely different from what I've seen from other teams. Same with RVL. They play, but I reckon it is just now the pressure of being in this postseason casted by the VRML team. It's just getting to their head now. They're cracking under all this pressure.
Well, it's it is a lot, and at the end of the day, we're not even talking about prizes and money on the line. That's when you really start to see the pressure mount up. That's what I'm starting to think about for Season 1 already, when we do have those prizes in hardware and cash on the line. So, it's certainly a lot of pressure now, and the most pressure that there could have been so far in the preseason. But there's more to come with Season 1 starting September 11th. For now, we get to enjoy the EU battle as they do open up B entirely and find the first kill onto Asoria. That's a big pickup. They find in and find Fly next. What is the trio going to be able to do on objective? Mr. Tabs shuts it down. U+ is here, but the EMP plant's coming through, and they're the last one to defend. They'll get picked up by Tabs on the flank, and that's going to be a strong 7-1 into the hands of the RVL squad. What is the adjustment that Niffen need to make here, Jonesy? Just try and shake off the nerves of these finals?
It's probably a nerve issue, and it's probably the last time they went against RVL now. They've got that in their head. Boom, 21-2. It's going to be hard for us to come back after that. So I reckon it's nerves, the pressure of the previous match, and obviously we have, 50 people in chat now? There's these 50 people watching them, Niffen are shocked to be in here. They did decent to get that 1 round, and they're doing well for themselves. Obviously, being a more dominant French team, their comms are probably going to be a little bit different. Maybe translation errors between the members, such as connector could be a completely different word in French and might not directly translate. Yeah, so Niffen is entirely French, while the side of RVL speaks English, apart from 1 member who's French as well, I think.
Oui,
but
oui,
it's
le français.
language barriers between the teams as well. So maybe Niffen are just intimidated by RVL because they know how they've been in the past with their win-loss ratios.
How do you say save in French?
I will find out for you.
Save your money. Save, full buy, Vezins.
Yep.
No RCPs. I think that's a big adjustment that they could make. If you have enough money to only force buy and you're gonna have 3 RCPs, let that round go, because it's difficult. It's difficult enough to take any round off a Revolt. Never mind if you don't have the meta weapons, a fully kitted Vesence in everyone's hand. If you try and force the issue every single round, you get put on the back foot and you're gonna get stuck in that trap of force buying every round. We've seen it time and time again as the meta developed. I think that's the biggest adjustment I want to see from them. Just save, let that round go, and get fully kitted rifles for the next round. It gives you that best chance of taking a complete round and starting to swing the momentum in your favor.
Yeah.
Map 1 definitely going strongly into the hands of RVL. We'll see how it goes for Map 2, but a shout out to everyone tuning in. Like Jonesy said, there's a bunch of you stopping by and enjoying the EU Championships. We do appreciate your support. Do be sure to tune in just a few hours from now, about 2:15. We'll be jumping into the NA side of things. So NA matchups coming up. You do not want to miss those matchups. That'll be super exciting. Top 8 teams battling it out there on the NA side. But again, just going to be 4 teams, 2 matches tomorrow. Same time, same place, 9 a.m. PST. We'll start with EU matchups Group B. So there's more EU matchups to come tomorrow. You're going to want to catch those. Jonesy will be joining us for those as well, where we're looking forward to having you on board for that. But until then, do stick around for the final map of EU. We're going to go to a brief break while RVL charges some headsets and gets ready for map 2. So don't go anywhere. More EU championships coming up.
Yes.
Easy going right there. Look in here. One more to go.
Hey, chat.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here for map number 2 of RVL versus Niffen. Skyscraper. Do we see any substantial opportunities here for Niffen versus on something like Hideout? I mean, obviously, the stats, what do they say? Let's take a look. Hideout is Revolt's best map. It's also Niffen's best map, technically. Skyscraper is Revolt's worst map by a large margin. They have an 84% win rate on Hideout. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
46% win rate on Skyscraper in comparison. Similarly, though, a 44% win rate from Niffen. So, what are we getting here? We'll find out as we jump into map number 2. Again, RVL versus Niffen duking it out here, and our bottom floor to kick things off on the objective.
Good enough. Going to be Revolt on the defense, and Niffen going to be on the attack here to start things off. Nice paced and a spread kind of start from them. They're taking 3 members here on the outside of the rafters, now 4, and now make that all 5. As I say, it's spread, and then they all group up. First. Como going to be breaching the hatch on the top floor as 3 of the members work their way in through the bathroom on the bottom floor. Nice little smoke grenade coming through to give them a little bit of map control. And yeah, we got Astoria and Como waiting for their team to get into place so they can pop this hatch and commence attack, execute alpha. On the B-bomb side, Astoria finding the first pick, though. On the roam, Mr. Tabs perhaps a little bit savvy to their idea, but getting shut down, and the immediate double drop in on the hatch comes through, and the bullets are flying back and forth. Hazel with the retake as U+ having some connection issues, finally does drop to Hazel, and now it's Skyburn and Fox are going to 2v2, but Hazel picks up another one, his 3rd kill on the round already, and it's all down to Flytox.
Where is Flytox, the last remaining member? They're up on the outside. Yeah, they've dropped out to the outside. They could swing in towards the top floor or the outside of A, but that's really their only options. Hatch is open, so maybe they're going for that, or we may be seeing another save like we have been seeing when it comes down. But at 1v2, I mean, Jonesy, do you really save here even in a 1v2 on the pistol set?
It depends on what you've got. So obviously, Flytox has spent what 600 this round. They've got the Cyclone, which is a good gun, about 4 shots to the head now. They've got Breaching Foam, which is a good utility to have. So if they do save it, then they could do that. It's stuff to save for the next round to get a competitive advantage, really.
Wild stuff in my mind, thinking this is so doable. 1 versus 2. I mean, maybe I have a biased opinion because I live for the clutch. That's why I got so hooked on Counter-Strike, Valorant, this game in particular. When all my teammates are dead and all eyes are on me, I love those moments. Now, in a 1v5 with a little bit more to save to the next round, I could definitely I'm saving, right? But in a 1v2 on a round this important, where all you're bringing is a pistol and a breaching foam, I mean, I guess that has value, but it does not have nearly as much value as getting these last 2 kills and putting the first round on the board. I think it's worth the risk.
It's just the calculations of the it's different prioritization, you know. And like I said at the start of this, we're finally going to really kind of get to see. Obviously, we've had Jonesy doing EU broadcasts, but you know, most of the majority have been NA just because of the timing and availability from the casting team. But it's really interesting to see how EU has developed this prioritization on every dollar. You know, and it's just not it's not a prioritization we've really seen until like the last 2 weeks, the last week in NA, we started to see people saving and like holding on to rifles and trying to take those into the next round and stuff. But it's I mean, maybe I'm just off and I've just missed it. It's been something that's more prevalent in NA. Phil, like, I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out in a couple of hours, right?
Night, you're really quiet.
Oh well, that's just for you guys, but not for the folks at home. I had to adjust my hair, but yeah, apologies. Anyway, just about ready to hop in to round 2, and what are the buys looking like?
An interesting spy here. Niffen once again favoring those SMGs. I guess they brought that Cyclone in, Flytalk saved the Cyclone, and then he bought up into a Viper anyway, so I don't think he's going to use the Cyclone. I just realized that. It's funny, but they do have 2 breaching foams, a smoke grenade. They got a nice little buy going in here, and Revolt have played very cautious on the buy, so they've saved up into all pistols. So this could actually work out to Niffen's favor if they can put this second round on the board and get a little bit of momentum.
All pistols and a little bit of utility, as we see a static emitter here tossed down onto the 2 windows. It's going to be hard for a full breach into this side, which gives them a little more confidence to hold this outer area and defend from any sort of swings in. But where is the pressure? It's nowhere, because there is no pressure yet. The whole team of Niffen is slow playing this round as they're trying something new, just trying to adjust the pacing a little bit, especially since they were all dead before the minute and a half of last round. They're trying to change that a little bit with a bit of a slower pace going into this. And let's see what the Niffen team can do. They put 1 on the board already, but that is it. Revolt have really been in control.
Yeah, I like this change of pace, especially on a round where you've kind of invested into a couple SMGs. You really, they would like to win this round, because Upless and Flytalks, after buying those SMGs, are going to struggle if they don't win the round, especially. But even if they win, they're going to struggle to buy rifles. They're going to need those SMGs in hand, and they need to win this round to make those buys make sense, to make it worth it. So you don't want to mess this up. But with 1:14 already left on the clock, you need to make something happen here, as we see 4 members all vaulting into this window, and the crunch comes in as Skamos and Mr. Tabs are there, but the smoke grenade comes in perhaps a little too late, but opening the wall just gives Hazel an opportunity to help extend the crunch. As I say that, Skyburn finds a headshot onto Hazel, and Astoria picks up Tab on the flank, so they've got it down to a 2 versus 2 now. They need to find those SMGs, get the EMP planted. If Skyburn can pick up this syringe right here and heal himself, that would give them the best opportunity, as Hickman and Zab the Slav are crunching around the hallway. They're coming in the backside. Hickman pushing in. He's got a Viper in hand. He's going to find the first kill on Astoria. And now it's just Skyburn with just 9 points of health, quickly going down. And Hickman having another strong performance here on Skyscraper. Puts their team up 2-0.
Solid retake coming in from RVL, showing what it's like to be who was gosh, I'm already blanking.
FOA?
FOU, yeah, on the retakes. But yeah, up 2-0 out the gate. Jonesy, it's looking good again for RVL. But honestly, Niffen aren't doing too bad of battling here on Skyscraper. I feel like if there was ever more of a chance, it would be here. Do you, the Vezins, is it going to be enough for them to have a chance in round 3, the full buy?
If obviously RBL are going to full buy. They've won 2 rounds in a row. Round 3, Vezin, they're going to buy the rifles. But we see, obviously, on the side of Niffen, we have, is that a Vezin or is that a Cadillo? I can't tell by Como.
2 Vezins.
SMGs coming out. So the RCP, laser at long range, Omen, Pea shooter. You see a bunch of different things coming out, and that's just what we call them on EU. We call it a Pea shooter, literally, or a Nerf gun.
Yeah, it is super low damage pellets coming out, if you will, of the Omen. But okay, well, let's see if the 3 SMG 2 rifle buy, Phil, if that's going to be enough. It's full rifles on the side of RVL. They've managed the economy well. They've got the 2 rounds comfortably in their pockets. They're feeling good with utility available to them going into round 3. They've got syringes and a couple of a nade in the pockets of Hickman. And it's just a matter of time as we wait for the slow play again from Niffen. They're not pushing in too early.
Taking your time makes sense. I mean, I'd love for them to prove me wrong and make something happen with this unorthodox buy strategy. But if not, it's going to be, how do you say save? Save en casseur? Save in French. We got to, I mean, we gotta. I want to get in their voice comms and give them a little tip here to bring, because they're on their series point here. If they can't scrape this map together, that's going to be elimination time for them. Revolt already looking to advance into the next weekend's stage of this championship. But like I said, I like to be proven wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can take these SMGs and put their first round on the board.
Hickman getting a little bit aggressive there, pushing up, putting some pre-fire out, checking server room, but they did it too early, as we're now finally seeing Asoria with EMP drop down out of server room, get some control of it. Como will be able to reinforce. Mr. Tabs on a rotation on the back end catches Fly, and so it's an early good start for the RVL defense. It's what they've continued to have. They get those early kills, then they continue to run with them. It makes it very difficult for this team to move in confidently, knowing that there could be a flank coming in at any time. But we're going to have 4 stacked up in server room ready to push into the B site.
That's the nice thing about the server room is there's not a lot of flanking opportunities. Just one doorway, really, you got to worry about, and they'd have to push all the way up that long hallway to get there, and it just allows you to focus a lot more effort into the front as that focus finds them the kill onto Hazel. But Hickman in a beautiful position to peek out and get one as Tabs, Zab the Slab, and Tabs coming in the background. The amazing retake. Is that the EU meta? The retake? It wasn't even retake, actually. They didn't even give up site control, but that counter aggression on defense just so powerful.
Jonesy, I'm curious on your thoughts on that, because we do see a big prioritization on the NA side of shutting down the plant, because that plants money into the opponent of your enemy for everybody on the team. But we're seeing here that despite how much the saves and every dollar matters, there seems to be a little less priority on allowing the plant when you're defending.
Yeah, because obviously, in my eyes as well as the players, if you kill the players, they can't stop you from defusing. So you aim for the players as your top priority, your EMP is the second priority. If the EMP is on the floor, obviously watch it, make sure they don't pick it up. But just getting them kills get you to money as well. It's so much better.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's going so much better for RVL as they are up 3-0 here. We can take a quick look at the scoreboard once I have my stuff working. But actually,
at least you have a scoreboard to look at.
Yeah, that's true. At least we do, and we're diving into the action here for round number 4 of what has been a dominant performance so far from Revolt. There it is. You can see 7-1 on Hideout, 3-0 on Skyscraper right now, and they're looking to take another what is ultimately eco round away from Niffen. They do buy a few into the RCPs, but actually 3 SMGs coming in, only 2 saving. So again, a pretty big full buy, just spending what they have, Phil, to try and find kills.
Yeah, desperation as far as the economy. I mean, you like once you start your way down this rabbit hole of force buying every round, it's tough to get out of it, right? It's a trip that you're kind of locked into at some point. You know, you kind of hope to make it work at some point and get the economy to shift in your favor. But this round, it looks like it's going to be a play towards the screens. U+ pushing the drone in, immediately going to get taken out by Zab the Slab, and 3 members here to fight. Tabs picks up Skyburn on the background. Zab the Slab finds Asoria through the window. U+ with that Viper in hand. He's going to swing right in, and immediately Zab the Slab peeks and catches him. Just helpless on the rope there, trying to swing in through that window. The smoke grenade was in, but that's a tough spot to be in.
A nice hold right there, shutting down that door swing. Hickman trying to get nades out the doorway to catch Como out, and the meanwhile Fly gets picked up inside as there's still 5 RVL alive on defense. They're looking to take this one all the way to 6-0 on the defensive set. They're certainly set up to do that 4-0, and I think Como is going to be, waving to the crowds at home as they save and avoid giving more money into the hands of RVL. Not like it really matters. I mean, again, Phil, to your point, at this stage, does every dollar really matter? Isn't maybe finding a 2-tap more valuable than just going down? Because ultimately, that money, it doesn't matter. They have so much into their pockets. Mr. Tabs is peeking out, and maybe the patience of Como will pay off. That's a rifle if they go down and get it.
Yeah. So I agree with you. The kill isn't what matters here. What would matter is if he can get his hands on that Vezin and save that into the next round, because the way that they're stuck force buying, every rifle that they can bring in is value to them, right? Taking the rifle out of Tab's hand doesn't matter. They've got so much money, he's going to be able to buy that back. But if he can recover that rifle, that is another story. But they seem to be aware of his position. Is he even going to go for it? Last seconds are winding down.
Yeah.
He's going to vault, quick drop down. He's going for it. Is he going to get it in time? No contestation, he does. So beautiful save there from Como. And Hickman drop. That was close. That was so close. But yeah, so Jonesy, what do you think Niff needs to do to get a little bit of momentum? I mean, we know, is Skyscraper a defensive sided in EU as well, or is that just an NA stereotype?
Every map is defensive sided except for Hideout. Hideout's attacker sided just due to the short range of it, in my opinion. We see on Hideout though, you see like a lot of, if anything, SMGs can do better than rifles on Hideout simply due to close quarter. On this, it's much more longer range. You want to get those rifles to be able to pick people off down these 4 big corridors on the map. But what we do see is obviously with Niffen now, they're on a bit of a momentum crash. Obviously now they've got 1 rifle. It's going to give them a bit of a boost. But they're on this crash. They've lost 4 rounds in a row for this map. To push now is going to be quite hard for them to be able to do.
Yeah.
2 rounds left. It's tough. It's tough. You really hope they can put this one on the board and maybe string a couple together. But yeah, I agree. As we dive into this 5th round, I have more questions. We'll wait till after this round is over. EU meta, ever interesting to me. As we see Story on the rooftop here, perhaps droning through. And again, it looks like they're choosing once again to breach in through the screen side. A little favorite spot for the Niff team here.
You have to worry about Mr. Tabs threatening. So far, they have... Oh, our scoreboard broke. That's unfortunate. We can show you this one. 5 kills on the set so far. Hickman with 5 as well, but only 1 death. Yeah, RVL is just playing solid here on the defense. But the full swing and entry is in. Coming in from Niffen. They've got their SMGs and off-meta rifles in hand, and they're ready to push in down towards the B objective side. There's no real threats either. Oh, except for Mr. Tabs.
Mr. Tabs, ever dangerous on that roam spot, and it's just going to hold on this desk. That was Fly Talks dropping, so not quite the Vezin in the hands of Como drop, but still every opening pick here is valuable. The hatch does blow, so it looks like Como tucked into this bush here. But Hickman with another little 2-piece. It's been a really strong performance from him so far, and Asori goes down. It's all just down to Como. He does have that Vezin in hand, but 1 versus 4, now 1 versus 3, as he finally does pick up the kill onto Mr. Tabs.
Let's see. What are the options? EMP is down on B site. Como likely to eco and save here, I suppose. That would be par for the course. Like I've said, don't know that dollar matters much. I suppose to have the rifle matters more for Niffen. Still, though, they're not going to have enough for more than 2 or 3.
They're going to be able to buy 1 more. They're going to be able to buy at least 1 more from Como at the end of this one.
I think Asori will have enough too. They'll get 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can get 3 rifles into the last round, which is, better late than never.
Yeah. I mean, look at the eco currently though. Like the lowest eco on the side of RVL is higher than U plus Skyburn plus Fly plus Asoria.
Pretty much, you're right. The most broke player on Revolt almost has as much as the entire Niff team combined here. They got so much money in the bank.
It's only one player that doesn't have the same amount, really. It's Tabs has the lowest, and then I can't read the name because the colours, but Hazel. So them numbers are very similar. So you will see now maybe 1 or 2 rifles coming out.
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll see 3 rifles out on the side of Niff, as if Como can drop 1 for his teammate, being it is the last round, no more reason to save. But I did have a question. So, and as soon as I'm about to ask, we see the first Marui come out onto the server in the hands of
okay, what's your
Hazel.
question?
Yeah, in EU, do you see the Marui pop out? Oh, look at this is genius.
Double
He's got the
rifle.
Marui and the Vezin. So for close quarters, he's gonna switch to the Vezin. And for those long range fights, you're talking about how Skyscraper's a long range map. Do you start to see the Marui? We see it pop out on a couple NA teams.
We barely see it. So obviously, I try and cast as many EU as I can, but I try and cast the OCE region, and you see more Maruis in the OCE region than the EU region by miles. It's good for this map because obviously recoil isn't the best, but if you get a headshot, every gun doesn't one shot at all ranges. But it seems to me, for experience, the Marui can deal damage further away than the Vezin, meaning on long corridors, it's going to be so much better.
Yeah, that one tap hits a lot farther away on the Marui, whereas yeah, the Vezin, especially on those long hallways, you can get a headshot with the Vezin that doesn't actually kill, and that's a big advantage coming out. The one tap versus the two tap can make all the difference, especially when the aim is so equal as we start to see here at the top level. But we're getting started into this last round here. It looks like Como did not actually drop a rifle for his teammate, so that a bit unfortunate. I don't know. He's taking that money to just gone as the last round. So perhaps a little bit of the nerves coming in, not quite as clear-headed as they could be. But Como is gonna pick up the first kill.
What? That was beautiful.
They cleared Mr.
Yeah,
Tab's
great.
head.
So it's starting things off nicely, and now they want to blow this hatch as a team. They're gonna crunch towards the B bomb site. Nobody on the outside though, and nobody on the bottom floor. All 5 members are gonna see a quick hatch drop, and the crossfire comes in, and they immediately go from a 5 versus 4 to a 0 versus 4 as Skimos and Zav the Slab, I believe it was, just absolutely shut down that hatch drop.
Zav got 4.
Brutal.
No, Skim got 4, Zav got 1, but it was 4 kills to 1 and 1 kill there, because obviously watching the hatch for the drop is the best thing you can do, because as you're dropping, your gun's going to be aimed higher or lower than the head. But you, as the defense, can sit there, wait for them to drop, and be at head height already, and you can just one-tap them as they land, and they're not going to expect it.
Yeah, especially with the crossfire coming in with Zav the Slab over on the side of the site and Skimos in the connector. It's just 2 different angles. There's a lot of different angles, but those two particular ones, you're stuck in a crossfire. Bullets coming in from multiple directions, lining up collateral damage. It's a brutal thing to make work. But there's not a lot of options here on Skyscraper. On these 2 particular bomb sites, it's I like the attempt. They threw a little curveball at him. It didn't quite get through, but we see the tear continue as Revolt are up 6-0.
Could be it. Map and set point coming down to a pistol round. Not where you want to be if you're Niffen, but I guess it works out if you find the first kill. Como kicks things off. And the rest of this Niffen team is exploring, looking for kills. Como in particular, really out here. 2 utility now with a smoke and a nade that they managed to pick up off of the downed opponent. They are definitely the best chance. I guess all you can do is tie map 2. So yeah, it's not ideal, but hey, they're looking good here on the pistol round. Another kill coming in from Skyburn this time as they shut down the breach onto the backside of B, but now they've lost control of B.
And all is falling apart. It was looking good for a second. I mean, if you can get this pistol scraped together, you talk about how defensive sided Skyscraper is. Perhaps you see the start of a comeback, but as Upless drops, and now Como and Asoria, just no health between the 2 of them. It's all down to Como now. And 1 versus 3 to keep his team alive in the championship series. We could be seeing the end of Niffen's run. A bit of a lucky seed for a couple of dropouts to get in, and they are going to get sent into the second EU team to get eliminated here. And that's going to be Revolt advancing on to the next stage of this championship series for next weekend. Into the semifinals, is that?
Yeah, semifinals next weekend, starting Saturday, and then the finals Sunday with, I think, the third place match. Third place match might be on Saturday too, though. Either way, you got another weekend of high-tier breachers to look forward to. But that's going to be it for us on the EU side of things. Jonesy, your final thoughts on today's two matchups. I'm sure you got to tune in and watch the first one of the
I
of
watched
the night.
all of the first one. I was casting it into a Discord chat, and we were talking about VRF, because you kept saying, oh, Tipic on this cross angle. Tipic is the resident roamer for VRF from what we've seen. And having, obviously, the names, it confused you. It's confused me many times when just talking casually to the players. But we see, obviously, VRF going against French on You. French on You, obviously, being a lower down team, disadvantage. That seven points they got in that first map threw all of us off, and we were laughing our heads off. Because to see a lower level team beat a higher level team, it gives you a different sense of joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, don't you? Especially in a finals
the
match.
underdog story.
It gives you such a warmth, and I feel bad to see them go after that first match.
Yeah, well, there was no hope or warmth for Niffen today, unfortunately. Again, a dominant performance from Revolt, Phil, in our second match of the afternoon. But I'm going to save us some voice energy because this is not the end of the day. We still have more games to come. In 2 hours from now, let's see, no, about an hour and 40 minutes from now, we will be starting game number 1 of Group A for NA. You're going to want to tune in right here on this YouTube channel to catch that live stream. You can see the event is already planned, so you can sign up to get notified of when the stream goes live. There should be a brief pre-show, much like we did for the EU side of things, and then we got 2 games to look forward to on the NA bracket. Top 8 teams battling it out for a chance to advance on to the semifinals and finals next weekend. But, again, like I said, that's going to be it for us here this afternoon. Phil, your final thoughts before we go.
Yeah, I mean, great way to start off this championship series. I wonder, we saw 2 French teams get eliminated. Is there any more hope left for France, or did France just get wiped out of the champions? That's actually going to have to...
I'm totally certain that they were the last French teams.
That's it.
Quite sad.
France's hopes have just been crushed. You saw it here live on VRML. Don't forget to tune in later as the action continues. I've been Philibus, joined by Jonesy and Nightfire with 2 E's. We hope you've had as much fun as we have. That's it. That's what we got for now. Come back in a couple hours for NA.
Breachers VRML is brought to you by Triangle Factory, HyperX, ProTube VR. Thanks for watching VRML.